everyone. I hope you had a good week off last week. I saw all your pictures, all your travels, a bunch of family reunions.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was actually like, some of them were like my father meeting people for the first time. You know, my grandfather left the South in the 40s, you know, getting away from racism, like a lot of people were. It was a great migration in the United States during that time. And he never looked back. So he had like, you know, brothers and sisters who had families and their kids had kids and all kinds of stuff. So my father didn't know any of his first cousins there. He didn't know any of his, you know, his people there. And so it was his 75th birthday. So we were taking him there to Texas to meet people that he never met at 75 years old.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that he was meeting some relatives for the first time. That's wonderful that you all did that for him.
It was the coolest
birthday
thing.
Gift.
Oh, yeah, it was the coolest thing. I was so glad we went. It ended up being like an amazing time. We were also hoping to like, his grandparents are buried at an African-American, like, segregated cemetery behind a whites-only cemetery, and it's kind of in the woods, and they don't really keep it up. And we were looking to, like, find his grandparents there. A retired police officer had done some work and found these little metal markers indicating where they were, and he did some forensics to figure out that, yeah, these are the markers, light forensics or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he sent us the pictures. So when we went there, we were going thinking we were going to find them. Because the last time we were there was 2004, and we didn't have all that information, and you know, we didn't find anything. So then he sent us the pictures like, this is what the things look like. You can find them now. That was in 2013, so now we get there 2022, finally, and all the winters and all the leaves that have fallen and all the stuff, they're covered up again. So we couldn't find them. So we got to go back with rakes and stuff to clean it up, to find them.
Look at Danielle being so quiet. I guess she's still mad at you. I mean, it's now what, May 7th.
What?
May 7th. So for all of you who are not aware, John has been making bold predictions that the rower would be announced on May 4th.
Yes.
And Danielle promised. Actually, I could say it was almost a threat, kind of, that if it didn't come out on May 4th, she'd be at your doorstep. So
it was a total threat. That's why he wasn't home.
That's right.
That's right.
That's why I left out of town.
He went to the other side of the country.
That's right.
That's why he was not home, because he knew.
That's right.
He knew I was coming.
That's right. I wasn't answering no doors. Amazon and DoorDash was just like knocking and ringing. That's right. But yeah, I think, well, you know, okay, in my defense, I'm the only one made a prediction, right? I'm the only prediction that's out there. Everyone else made statements based on inside information. I made a prediction a year ago. So I'm going to call it a win if it comes out anytime within the next 2 weeks.
All right, here we go with this again. Listen.
Yeah, you don't have plus or minus grace period here.
No.
No, you don't. I mean, we talked about this behind the scenes, and we have decided that you are the new meteorologist / radiologist of the group.
Yes.
You got a dual hat going on right now.
You know,
but I will give you props for being the only person who just made a prediction.
That's right.
And did not, like, jump out there off of insider information.
Right. I refuse to change it. Like, actually, just like everyone, about 2 months ago, I got actual information from someone who worked within Peloton telling me it's going to come out during the homecoming. I was like, dang, I'm wrong with my prediction. But I refuse to change it. It's been a year. I'm going to change it. I refuse.
You're not changing. I knew you weren't changing. It didn't matter that you had, additional scoop, whatever. You were like, sticking by your guns.
Right. I refuse.
It didn't matter if they were wrong or not.
That's right.
You were like, forget it.
I refuse to change.
This is it.
That's funny. Anyway.
We'll go ahead and officially kick it off, and then we can go back to making fun of you for your predictions.
I like the meteorologist hat thing. I'm going to have to get some meteorologist clothes. I might have to dress up.
You're a meteorologist and you're a radiologist, because neither one are helpful.
I don't know what
radiologist. Two very highly paid professions. You can literally just throw out any random guesses. I mean, meteorologists could snow, could be a dusting, could rain. We could get 3 feet. And for those of you not in the medical field, if you've ever read a radiologist report, they'll give you a possible list of diagnoses about 27 things long, and then still not tell you what it is on your CAT scan. So
you're like the modern day Willard Scott or or Al Roker.
You know, when I used to live in San Diego, we used to complain about the weatherman all the time. I mean, it's like sunny every day, so you know.
yeah, what is there to complain about the weather in San Diego? How can you get it wrong?
Right.
It rains like 5 times a year.
Yeah, so that's why we would complain. We were like, "Come on! I mean, it doesn't even rain that often. How you gonna get it wrong today?" Like we used to complain. But I thought it was just them. Then I get out here to the East Coast, and because rain, the weather is a little more, broad and dramatic, and the same thing. I think people complain about weathermen everywhere. It's consistent.
Well, you're in good company then.
Cool. Anyways, I guess we'll get it kicked off. Welcome everybody to our weekly wellness check. We missed a week last week because I was traveling, but we're gonna pick it back up today. This is meant to just be a light conversation. It's not meant to be anything stressful. Just light conversation. We just talk about fitness, the connected fitness industry, about the fitness industry in general if we want to. A lot about Peloton because a lot of us are Peloton riders. Whatever we want to talk about. Again, it's intended to be light, conversation amongst friends. Nothing too deep. If you want to join the conversation, just hit the hand on the lower right of your phone. We'll bring you right up on stage, and you can join the conversation. If that's uncomfortable for you, it is Saturday. We ain't into no uncomfortable stuff. So just kind of hang out in the audience. That's totally appropriate. You don't have to come up on stage. Just hang out and listen. All right. So let's jump. Actually, before I jump in, I see Anisha in the audience, and I know I just came from Tunde's thing on Saturday, and Tunde just randomly pull Anisha up on stage, and I was like, man, I hope Anisha ready for a question. What? Anisha was so prepared for Tunde, just busted out her question. She came up there already. So I just want to give Anisha mad props on that. She was ready for it.
Oh, that's awesome. And you forgot to tell people where they could find you. Again,
oh, I always forget that one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Oh, so the agenda items that we're about to talk about, we discussed during the week, all week, within my Run, Lift, and Live Facebook group. So if you want to be a part of that conversation during the week, kind of hearing news as it comes out and then being a part of conversations as we're discussing them in real time, just look for a Run, Lift, and Live group on Facebook or page, specifically the group. That's where we have these conversations, and join the group, and then you can be prepared for these discussions, like with kind of the insight as to what we're going to talk about and or say about those topics. And
just I was gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. You done, John? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say before we got too far away from the fact that Niche was on stage for 2 days, is that Niche is like one of my bestest friends, and when I happened to see video footage of her on stage, and I did not know that this was happening ahead of time,
right?
I almost completely cursed her out and disowned her.
Okay, see,
Niche, just so you know. Just
see,
so you're aware.
Oh, okay. Tea spilling off the stage. Okay, hold up. We're going to have to bring Anisha on stage, kind of talk through this. I tried to, but I did something wrong, Anisha, so I don't know. Oh, there she go. Okay, what's going on, Anisha? You there? Is it me? Am I not hearing her?
No, I think she's muted.
Oh, okay, there she goes.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, we got you.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's all good.
Yes, friend, don't hate me. That was not expected. I was not expecting, definitely was not expecting to go on stage, and would not have if I wasn't called out. But I was like, oh shoot, I'm in the front row, and everybody's here. And she said, come up here, so I can't punk out. I have to go.
Well, you handled it. You know what I mean? You handled it. That's all I know.
Well, they asked a couple. It was like a while ago before they even started doing it. They were asking who was, about people being there and about if, people might have had questions. So there was a bunch of different questions that were submitted. And I guess when I confirmed that I was going to be there, her assistant had reached out, and she was just kind of probing me about different stuff, but it still wasn't expecting that it was going to be that. Because there was so much going on that it was not even that there was going to be a Q&A section, or even that they had one planned.
Right.
So it was almost like the GMA thing where it could happen, but you don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like maybe 3 minutes before, she sent me a text message and was like, "Where are you sitting?" So I waved my hand, and then the next thing I knew, I saw she had a cue card with my name on it. And then Tunde was like, "Oh, so I heard they have some questions." And so they were like, "Yes." But she said, "Well, if they're going to ask questions, they got to come up here." And I was like, "What?" So at that point, a heart and everything fell into my throat. And I was like, okay, this is it. So, okay, fine. So she saw me. And because before that, I had the book signing, she was like, you better get on up here. And then I was like, okay, good. And I'm thinking the instructors are in the audience. People I've never met before are in the audience. And then she was like, you got to give your leaderboard name. I was like, oh, so now I'm really on blast because I could just use my government name in this Peloton world so people don't know you by that name. But
you got to use your government name in the Peloton world to be anonymous. I know, I get that. See, that makes sense to us.
Right. So yeah, I was nervous. I was extremely nervous. I was like, I really don't want to do this. And then of course I had on these like platform shoes. So in my mind, I'm like, don't trip going up, don't trip going down, don't slide, don't fall, keep it together.
Right.
So all these things are kind of going through my head because I was like, again, you got AT and everybody in the audience.
Right.
You cannot punk yourself a clown because then they're going to remember your leaderboard name is that girl that fell. So
yeah, that story would have went on forever. You right.
Right. I would have became a meme, a GIF, and everything.
All them cameras, video recording. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had said, okay, pull it together. Because I don't really like talking in front of crowds. And that's why when she did it at first, I said, okay. And then when we got up there, and that's why I made the joke. I was like, oh, you want me to sit where Robin sat? Oh, this is cool. I was like, oh, Robin and Cody. So I said, let me lighten the mood.
Right.
But thank goodness the lights were bright. So I said, just look at her and talk to her.
That's right.
And just leave it at that. So that's basically what I did. And then, of course, when it was done, I was like, don't fall going down. Because, again, you're going to ruin the moment if you fall going down.
Well, I mean, I guess I forgive you for not telling me ahead of time since you weren't 100% sure. And we literally talk a million times a day. I suppose you're forgiven.
I mean, all of this, I swear to you, D, all of this went down in the span of that day. There was never anything even kind of remotely like, hey, this could happen, this da-da-da-da-da. It's almost like the conversation started. We were standing in line at like 5, and it was maybe probably a couple of hours before that, but never anything said. It was just asking questions like, hey, would you happen to have any questions? Or, so I saw you had this question. What about this? And it was probing. It was never anything confirmed. And then it was like, I was thinking if they did, thank you, that they were just going to ask and she was going to answer. Like somebody would be like, oh, so Tunde, and then you just raise your hand and wave. Not that she was going to put you on stage.
Right.
You seem so prepared and so pulled together. You did amazing, and I'm so proud of you. And, I will give you shit till the end of time about anything and everything because that's why you're my sister. But you were incredible. You did amazing.
Yeah, you handled it, Anisha.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did really well. I was considering that I knew it wasn't all thoroughly prepared. I was very impressed on how you handled that. So that was awesome. I loved that.
That was just like a work thing. Because sometimes working for the government, you get stuck in a room with people and you get put on blast. So it's like, think of something on the cuff. Just be ready to go.
That's right. Well, you did it well. You did it well. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So one time my fast twitch muscles work. They don't work when I'm working out, but they work then.
But they don't work when you're working out, huh? I see I'm similar. I see you in the chat, Ariel. You say you fell going down the stairs at your college graduation. I've fallen in some crazy situations myself, so that would have probably been something that happened to me. I'd have probably tripped on something nobody trips on. Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah. If I did, no one believed down. And I would have.
No one believed me. She's a beast on the leaderboard. She is talking mad trash right now.
All right.
Talking about her muscles don't work. Girl, bye. Get off the stage. Where's the book button? I need that Apollo dude to come out and kick her off for her nonsense right now.
I do have to say one thing, though. So John came up in there all smooth. And at first, I was like, okay, so is he security? Is he like the Peloton security? Is he a part of the Gramercy team? Like, who is this? And I looked up, I said, oh, look at Mr. Mills coming all up in here. See, his diet and exercise and everything was paying off. He was looking like he was in the entourage.
You see,
I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, see, I lost so much weight it done went to my head. That's all. You know, my Erica gonna get my head, you know, back to normal size. You know, she's good with that. But you know, I'm so happy about this weight I lost. You know, I just walk through life all confident now.
Well, congratulations.
In the chat, they said you came in shaking hands and kissing babies. John is the president of Peloton.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was fun. I mean, this is the first topic, so I'll just kind of dive into it as we're talking about it. Anyway, it was fun. Well, okay, so I got the tickets, you know, weeks and weeks ago. And over the last few days, I started thinking I wasn't going to be able to go. Jasmine got a new job, and she wasn't sure she was going to be. You know, you're new. You don't want to be leaving early on your first day of your new job. So she wasn't thinking she's going to be able to leave in time for us to make it to the Gramercy to get there. And so I went most of the day thinking we weren't going. So I wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't think I was going to be there. And then at the last moment, she's like, oh, no, Dad, I can go. Okay, we're going to go, right? So I was like, oh, snap. So then I started running, getting all ready. I had to find parking. I find a garage. I get to the garage, and I bring my truck. That was the first dumb move. And they were like, we don't park no oversized cars at this garage. So then we're going around the block trying to find a place to park on the street. We eventually got the truck parked on the street. We literally got to the Gramercy door at like 7:32. Things supposed to start at 7:30. But luckily it didn't really start till 7:45, 7:50, something like that. So yeah, we just kind of got there. I'm glad we did because that was a lot of fun. I always enjoy kind of just seeing the people, you know, that we ride with every day, the people we see on the leaderboard, the people that we used to see in studio, you know, those relationships and those interactions are the things that I miss. So that was a lot of fun. And it was just like a bonus that, you know, the instructors ended up walking in and I got to chat with a few people and so, you know, a few of the instructors. So that was a lot of fun. I know you were there, Nisha. I don't know if anybody else in the audience was there, but if you were and want to talk about the experience and what you thought about Tunde on stage and her message and Mel Robbins. Now I know who Mel Robbins is. So you guys can't trip with me no more, right? I know who she is.
I'm just mad I wasn't there. Like it looked like it was like a homecoming. Like I'm so pissed I didn't come. And Shonda, who actually lives like 20 minutes from me, I think she's like Philly girl, something on the leaderboard. She was there, and I'm like, damn, we could have went together. So I was really irritated that I didn't go. And I was so jealous of everyone, seeing not all of just our Peloton, you know, community and our family, but seeing all the instructors. And I was like, damn it, I missed such a good time, but it's all right.
Let me jump. It's all good. It's all good. I'm sure they're going to. I took this as an initial event that kind of was an introduction back into our old kind of experience from back in 2019 and prior. Like I took it as an introduction to like the studios are going to be opening soon. And this is kind of the first opportunity to kind of present that old kind of experience. That's what it felt like to me. Right. So hopefully soon, you know, we'll all be kind of doing similar things anyway. So we'll see.
I mean, from looking from the outside in as someone who didn't go, it looks like the old homecomings, like the beginning ones, where everybody was kind of like able to get pictures with the instructors and they were kind of like down there. And then I know the newer homecomings, I mean, clearly before we went virtual, they weren't quite as like accessible. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
You know what was different though? And then I want to bring in Dan and Nisi. So you know what was different? And I did notice the fans are a little nuttier. They're a little more fanatical.
You ain't never lied.
I did. You needed to see that in person and know that, because I could tell that just from online.
Remember we were talking about it. Like all the, you know, the pre-pandemic folks that were used to kind of going in the studio and seeing them, and we were fanatical. Don't get me wrong, but we got kind of used to that. And then there was this question that we've been having in this discussion for weeks, like, well, what is it going to be when they open back up? And there's these during pandemic and post-pandemic type people that got their bike during the pandemic and have never seen them in person. What is that going to be like? And I think I got a glimpse of that. I
can't even imagine, because I'm telling you, the DMs that I get about Jess and about Allie, these people are bananas. Like, they are so bananas. I'm like, even if I knew that information, I wouldn't give it to you. But yeah, y'all are on some other stuff right now. So I can only imagine what it's like to like witness it in person, because this is just people sliding in my DMs.
When I tell you, I was just trying to get back to my seat, and it was a bluster. Like, I'm trying to be good, because now I know you record these. I'm trying to like tone down my cursing a little bit more.
No, you ain't got to do that. This is supposed to be comfortable. You ain't got to do that.
Because
don't give her free reign. She's wild. She's wild.
Nisa, you can say whatever you want to say.
Girl, I was literally minding my business. Like, I didn't even realize. First of all, they messed up by putting the instructors like in the middle. So like, what happened was we get there early because the Ticketmaster people were very late in getting the information about like meet and greet out to folks. And luckily enough, some of the more intrepid Team Tunde members called the box office like repeatedly until they got an answer. And I was able to share it with people as soon as I got more information that like the meet and greet was open at 5:30 to get like your book signed and all the stuff if you had VIP tickets. Just trying to find out you had VIP tickets was like going through Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Like, why I gotta go to 17 menus, 3 different apps. Like, it was not cute. And so 0 stars, very ghetto. Like, that process, do not recommend. But we get there and there's like nobody there. And what I could have lied. When I got to the Gramercy, they were like, "Oh, are you working the event?" And I should have lied, but I am too honest of a person, and I said no. I'm waiting for my VIP state. So we get there early,
right?
And there's only a few people. And, we're able to connect. Me and Tunde were like, "Oh my God, I miss you, girl!" Like, COVID protocols means we couldn't be all up in their business, but they didn't care, because by the time like the show was about to get started. So like, I didn't realize, folks are filtering in. The tickets say that the show starts at 7:30. So people are starting to arrive,
right?
Much later, like doors open 6:30-ish. I'm yelling at Kim, who is Tunde's business manager, because she's like popping her head out in the stage being like, "Is people coming?" I'm like, "Yeah, Kim, let me go find out for you." And
yeah, they came.
They came. And so I didn't realize that they were like filtering in like, regular people and then like going downstairs. And so if you got there a little bit early, like you got to chop it up with John Michael. I got to go hang out. I saw Dennis. I saw Christine. I got to go see my girl, Jessie Malone, who I haven't seen literally since I was in the studio. And then for those of you who don't know, she's Mess Jalone on Instagram, but she's actually one of, she got promoted a couple of times. So now she's like one of the associate producers for content. But when we were in the studio, like Jessie glowed up, okay? Because Jessie was dead ass one of the people that cleaned the studio back in 2019. All right. And it's beautiful to see that Peloton promotes from within. So like there's a ton of people who were like junior level staff in 2019 that are still with the company and have grown and gotten promoted several times. So it was great. Like I saw Shaka. And
I saw Shaka on the way out. I saw Shaka on the way out. I didn't see him early on, but as I was walking out the door, I ran into Shaka and Emma. So that was cool to see them. That was cool. It was
beautiful. It was like a little family reunion for those of us who were like at the studio fairly often back in the day. But then when they brought all the instructors in, like security came and was like giving them 2 rows like in the middle of the theater, which already I'm like, y'all got me fucked up. You should have put them on the side, made it like a little VIP area, because the way these people mobbed the instructors, and I was just like being pushed because I was trying to go back to my seat, and security was starting to get like an attitude. And I'm like, no, like my seats are right there. I'm so sorry. Emma had this face of like, oh my God, like please don't, like freaking out a little bit, but you can tell she's contained because she's media trained, right? But like I could see that she was getting a little overwhelmed. Like Jess and Kirsten were like clinging to each other like two peas in a pod, but like they were all just trying to get to their seats. It was bonkers.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I came in a bit late, but it sounds amazing. What were the demographics like? Was it 70% women? Was it New Yorkers, young people, old people? I'd love to know who showed.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I wasn't paying enough attention to be able to kind of give you that type of numbers. All I can tell you is the place was packed.
I mean, if you look at Tunde's stories and some of the stories from folks who attended the event, I would say that it was a good mix of folks, probably a 60-40 split for gender. So it was more women, but there were a good amount of men attending. I would guess it skews older because the Peloton user base skews older. Like, I'm a baby for Peloton standards, right? Like, I turned 30, like, in 2019, and I'm like considered a child in Pelo world. I think the average Peloton user before the pandemic was like 45. And so, like, and that's because y'all have money. Like, us broke bitches don't got money to buy the Peloton. Like, I just paid my shit off.
I think that like the demographics have like changed a little bit. But I agree with you. Like, historically, the demographic tended to be like 40 plus. But over the last, 3 years or so, definitely during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, they went from, a million subs to 3 million. So they tripled. And I think during that time, there were a lot of younger people that joined. So I don't know if it skews older as much as it did.
Also Black people, you can't tell how old we are. So there's also that. There were a lot of us. It was like a little BGM reunion. So I know I saw a lot of my BGM heads. It was beautiful. But John, like, it's your fault. Unc, I fully blame you. Cause you out here just like being like family, whatever. Now I have regular people who are coming up to me like I'm famous. I don't know you. I'm just like, hi, very nice to meet you. But I'm a regular schmegular degular person. So I can't even imagine how the instructors must feel when folks like steady mob them. Because people were coming up to me like, I know
Pelo
who
famous.
the hell they were.
You're Pelo famous.
It was definitely
I'm just minding my business. They're like, I follow you on the leaderboard. Girl, I don't know. That's why Alex today was like, yeah, don't tell me y'all real names when I meet you. Tell me your leaderboard names. Because I'm like, I don't know who y'all are. I'm like, please.
It was definitely.
Please tell me your Instagram handle.
It was definitely an introduction for me to the fact that the demo has changed slightly, and there are a lot more people than the last time we were able to do things in person. And for example, there was an incident. Like I'm talking to Alex, and then I tell him, "Oh, Jasmine's right here behind me." So he touches Jasmine's hand, just to say hi. And then the person behind Jasmine starts freaking out, like going, "Alex, touch your hand! Alex, touch your hand!" I was like, "Oh snap!
Oh my god!
Oh
I'm
snap!"
Sorry.
Like it's
that's hilarious.
It's definitely a different
so
thing.
Wild.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I mean, so we were right. I think we were right that they haven't been intermingled into the community as much as they were in the past. Thus, now it's going to be a different thing when they open the studio back up. I thought it was very brave of them to just walk the instructors in that way. And I think it was very smart to do it without notification. because had people known, I don't know how that would have went. But yeah, to me, it was an eye opener. I think we were right. This is going to be some interesting stuff. It's going to be.
It makes me wonder what the next in-person homecoming is going to be like. Like, how the hell are they going to manage it?
They're going to up the
There's going to
security.
be an in-person homecoming. I think they might just keep it a virtual format.
I saw you in the audience, Courtney, talking about that's why you've been doing these kickboxing classes, because you're supposed to be doing security. See, we needed you there. Where was you at, Courtney? See, we we needed some security. But actually, no, I just joke. It wasn't all that bad at all. But it clearly was different. It was different than I've seen before. So it was I think it was a peek into, how they're gonna. I'm sure it gave them information on how and what they can do, as they do these things going forward. It was interesting. Definitely interesting. And it was fun. It was really cool. I thought Tunde did amazing. I love the message. I love the conversation with Mel Robbins and the questions that Mel Robbins asked her. I loved how Tunde answered those questions. I thought it was really powerful. Cody and, Robin were Cody and Robin as kind of the intro openers. And they were amazing. I thought that went really well. They were funny. They were really funny. I thought the whole thing to me was a lot. I expected to enjoy myself, but it kind of outdid my expectations. It was a lot of fun. I had fun. It's cool. Anyway, hey Dan, I don't know if you had any other questions with regards. I didn't get back to you.
Oh, no. I'm here for a short time tonight. I wanted to just update you on the Jess King thing this morning. But I don't know how I follow all your excitement after that. So I'll run in your agenda. A quick shout out to a guy who's joining us who hasn't probably joined us before. Craig Heisner's down there.
What's going on, Craig?
I haven't seen Craig Craig and I go back 25 years, and I haven't seen him on Clubhouse before, so I'm embarrassing him now. We worked at Power Bar in Berkeley a long time ago. Just to jump in on the Jess King thing. And by the way, it sounds like the event's incredible. The couple instructors I'm friends with, I haven't talked to in a little bit. I was on vacation. I'm envious. I wish she was coming to Boston, and I don't think she is, and it sounds incredible. Mel Robbins is a Boston person that I've known way, way back when, before she was Mel Robbins. So I didn't even know she hosted this or was the moderator, or interviewer. So that's incredible. Thanks for sharing. I love everyone's enthusiasm. It's amazing, and I hope to meet you all in person. So the quick thing on the Jess King thing, I don't know if anyone was on the ride today, but usually she does the Sweat Steady, I think at 9:30 on Saturdays. It was I jumped on, and it was only like a 20-minute ride, and it was 30 minutes at 10:05. And what's interesting is she's been riding like every day. She's been a machine, which may play into this. And I was on the ride, and she was talking about Mother's Day. And John, as you and I have talked about, I believe, my mom passed away just a few years ago. And she talked about, it's hard for some people, great for people. And there was just I was going to bookmark the ride. There was just kind of a really cool vibe about it. And then out of nowhere, it was almost like, it wasn't this bad, but it was like, okay, get to 55 on resistance, I'm pregnant. So it was kind of out of nowhere, and it was like 80 cadence 55, move to 60 cadence, get up between 60 and 70, I'm pregnant, and Sophia and I have a baby. It was just out of left field, and it was 20 minutes in, and she said she was pregnant, and she and her wife, and she just talked about how it was very emotional and how long they've been trying to have a baby and things like that, and it was just out of left field. So she, I pinged her a bunch of times on Instagram. I didn't hear back from her, understandably, today. And it was just kind of a shocker. It was just, I don't know if anyone else was on the ride, but she just threw it out there, really happy for her. I mean, she was talking about going to Burning Man every year and talking about her life. Now it's going to change. And now Robin was really helpful to her in this journey and IVF and things like that.
Right.
So it wasn't, though, like it was done really well. The tone was really great. It was authentic. It wasn't, I always point back, no offense, not fighting with anyone, but like the Allie Love worst ride ever from Valentine's Day about her and her fiance. And that was so gratuitous. This was, it was really real. It was authentic. It was subtle. It was not like, look at me. It was emotional. It was kind of a shocker. So that was it.
Man, you can't be saying those fighting words.
Hold up.
They went on pause with that.
Minute. There is literally nothing bad that is ever to be said about Allie Love on this platform. Just so everyone in the audience, take note right now. If I am here, the only thing you say about Allie Love or Jessim or Kirsten is that you love them and they are amazing and everything they do is incredible.
I've done Sunday with Love about 30 times. I tell you, I don't even know why we're crazy about this bad.
And then you come back and you correct yourself.
Okay,
I will speak ill of Allie Love. Just does not.
I've just put up a chalkboard and I'm writing. I will not speak ill of Allie Love. I will not speak ill of Allie Love about 100 times, and I will send you a picture.
You know, Dan.
Perfect.
You know, Dan.
So
I was gonna
the
try to
lowest ride ever. But getting back to Jess, she was awesome. And you know, as I put out, someone was hammering me today. I said, you know, I don't know how long we'll lose her for on maternity leave, but as a geek, so it was cool. She, you know, has been swamped with things. A live ride. She may have just pinged me back, but it was cool. So I don't know if anyone else was in the moment, but it was definitely a little bit of a shocker. And that's it. Reporting in from the field. We can talk about the stock price and the business, and I don't see my buddy Mike on, but we can talk about the other stuff. I may jump in, otherwise I'm going to make dinner here. But I can jump in on the business end later. So
sure, yeah,
I'll pass it back to you.
Sure, yeah, we got that stuff on the agenda later on. You know, as you said that, it was like real quick. You know, I was gonna kind of just like tiptoe past it, but I kind of knew I wasn't gonna be able to do that, right? But
I'm like, clearly Dan doesn't follow me on Instagram. He doesn't know that Allie Love is my BFF. He hasn't seen my boxing videos, and he wanted to come from like far left field with some nonsense on a Saturday before Mother's Day.
Look, I have seen your Instagram. I've seen you on Instagram and LinkedIn, and I fully knew when I said it that 100% that I have no doubt you could kick my ass easily. So
I could totally kick your ass. I would totally kick your ass for Allie.
Yeah, you could push me over with a finger. So, yeah, I have no doubt. So I shouldn't have gone there, but it wasn't gratuitous. I won't mention AL. But I do fully understand, Danielle, that you could push me over with a finger easily. So I'm a softie.
So listen, while we were at the event, I ran into Jess King, and okay, so you know, I don't tend to like. I've never really thought about the idea that women, when they're pregnant, kind of glow. Like, I hear that concept often. And I remember, like, Erica had kind of that thing, but that was a long time ago. You know, Jasmine, 32 years old. But I run into Jess King, and I'm talking to her, and she for real was glowing. Like, she was for real glowing. So I didn't ask why or anything, but I just told her, you look nice. Everything's all good. And she's like, yeah, everything's good. And, you know, we kind of just went on our way. But now I'm like, I think I was seeing the pregnancy glow. I think that's what I saw. Or maybe it's just in my head. But I think that's what I saw. What's going on, Dia?
No, I can see it. No, I was just going to chime in real quick. I was also on the ride. She did a System of a Down ride first for 20 minutes, and then it was a house ride for 30 minutes. And the theme was climb. We climbed for the entire thing. But the playlist was all the different DJs that and artists that they're going to see for the year. And I think, halfway through, she announced that, like, the next song was going to be, like, her baby's first rave. And then she announced the pregnancy. I guess in her afterwards, they had been trying for a year. She talked about her journey and stuff like that. So no, it was really exciting and emotional, like other people were saying. And then the comments, and I'm really happy for her. So super excited. She says she's going to be on the bike for a while and enjoy it. So I don't know when we'll lose her for a bit, but super excited for her.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited for her as well. Hey Amy, how's it going? You there, Amy? If you are, you're on mute.
There we go. Clubhouse newbie here.
No worries.
No, I just wanted to say, yeah, I took the class as well, and she did preface it with like the climb sequence, and then she said it's going to be a really juicy recovery, which, you know, recoveries aren't necessarily usually juicy, so that was kind of exciting. And I think it really did. It was really exciting because I don't know that a lot of people, it was not the buzz, you know, like I feel like when Robin was, you know, announced her pregnancy, it was kind of a little bit expected. She had announced her IVF and everything. So the ride, I will say, the roadmap was brutal. It was a great ride. The music was amazing. And I just thought it was really beautiful. So I just wanted to chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought it was, I wasn't on the ride, but I saw the clip of that section after the ride, and I posted it in the Run, Lift, and Live group. Yeah, I thought the whole sequence there was pretty amazing. It's
and then the last thing I'll just say is it just came to me now. I kind of forgot about it. My youngest is 16 and a half, and I actually went into labor with him while I was teaching a spin class. So hopefully Jess will just take it to the end. Maybe she'll go into labor on the bike.
Maybe she'll just stay on. You know, who knows? Jess, she might.
You just ride until that baby pops
That's
out.
right. That's right.
So yeah, it's cool. I love seeing the pregnant instructors. I think it's really exciting, and it shows a great shift in the instructors. And I know we're going to talk about all that later in the agenda, but I think it's great.
I think so too.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so too. I think kind of watching them evolve, and then, you know, we've kind of watched them, you know, a lot of them become homeowners, and then we kind of watched a lot of them find relationships, find love, get married, and watch some of them, you know, now have babies. It's like you're kind of watching their lives play out.
Week.
What's that?
They moved into their home. They moved into their new home this week. So not only did she announce her pregnancy, they also moved out of their Brooklyn apartment and into their new home. So it's just been cool to watch them all evolve.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's really cool.
It's beautiful.
It's really cool to kind of watch the stories kind of play out. I think it's a cool, it's really neat thing, and you know, and as they kind of succeed as well, aligning to that, I think it's pretty neat.
It's super cool that she moved, but who else is going to miss the fairy stories? Like,
she
the people running for the fairy were incredible.
Oh my God, Fairy Fury was really what got me into Jess King in the way beginning. Oh my gosh, so great. But she says she's going to keep up. We'll see.
Those things used to crack me up. I used to be funny. Dying on some of them. Yeah. And
they were hilarious. I got checked into Jess after I did the Bad Girls ride with her and Robin. And that really made me like her. And then I started following her on Instagram. And then those fairy stories are just like remarkable. Like, they're so funny.
I always would wonder, like, you know, because when she started doing that, you know, the community wasn't as big. I always would wonder, actually, when she brought it back, like, are there going to be people running for this fairy that recognize and realize that Jess King might be out here and I'm late? I always wonder, is that going to happen? You know, and then they're caught on her story because they're late for the ferry. But yeah, that was always fun. I always enjoyed it. All right, I'm going to move on to the next topic, unless we have anyone else that has anything they want to add to that topic. Otherwise, I'll move to the next one, which I think kind of aligns, and that is the fact that some of these topics, wait, let me back up. Some of these topics you guys are going to have to help me with because I know them at a cursory level. I've been traveling and driving and I'm on trains, planes, and automobiles for the last 2 weeks. So some of these things I know at a cursory level. So I'll start the topic, but I'm hoping you guys can help me. So I was told that, and I think I saw the Instagram plug that Peloton now has new pre and postpartum classes. I don't know what that schedule looks like or what types of classes those are. Are they strength? Are they stretching? Are they cardio? Are they yoga? I don't know what they are. But I heard and saw in an Instagram story that they now have these classes. Anyone know anything about those?
I saw a bunch in the library. It looks like a lot of strength, mainly core, but some other body areas. I saw some yoga. I saw some stretches. Looked like different things with modifications, like on the thumbnail prints of each class. Like some of them had one of those big, what do you call those? Like those big bouncy balls that you can sit on, or there was one where Robin was leaning up against a chair, as like a bench. So it looks like, they've always kind of had a little bit of pre and postnatal, but I think they're really just trying to expand it.
Ah, got you. Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the collections, they like sorted it out as Strong as a Mother is like the collection of those pre and postnatal classes.
Mm-hmm.
So Robin's doing a lot of like prenatal like core and strength classes. Then Anna, so cute with her little bump, is doing a lot of like first trimester targeted yoga flows. And then they have Emma doing postnatal core strength. But I know that Kristen McGee, one of the OG yoga instructors, she's also like certified in pre and postnatal like certification for wellness and fitness. And I believe she had worked on some prenatal classes and additional modifications just in her regular classes before they made this announcement.
Gotcha.
I feel like they, as in Peloton, really started to up the mother, like birthing person rather, content for like once Robin, got pregnant.
Right.
But like there was stuff on the platform before, because I know that Kristen McGee was really passionate about it before she started. And she, on her Instagram account, will also talk about some prenatal and postnatal modifications. So I'm curious to see how many more classes will come out, because like what Becca said in the chat, I also heard that there is something in the water at Peloton because a number of instructors are pregnant. And so we now know two definitively, right? We have Jess King and we have Anna Greenberg. But I anticipate there being more announcements during this Mother's Day weekend, because like this is the weekend to do it, right? So I wonder how many more instructors are preggo, and will that change or like add to that Strong as a Mother content library? I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you there. To me, it's they're for me, they're younger people and they're kind of evolving, and in kind of doing kind of like things, which happens when you're in a circle of friends, right? And you tend to progress in life and hit like milestones and common time frames, and so and this seems to be one, and it feels like it's kind of based. Well, that's the question I have. Is it based on a lot of the instructors, hitting these stages in life, and it just is a good time for it to happen, for them to kind of concentrate on this? Or is it that, or are these things that these kind of broader, not categories, but specific kind of type classes, are these things that other connected fitness vendors already do, and they're trying to align? Like I wasn't sure which of those it is. I don't know. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they align, but I thought it was also ironic that they dropped the pregnancy line of clothing all within the same little like window.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely like planned it all out.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they planned the instructor's pregnancy, but I feel like clearly they knew something, because this is just too coincidental to have two different instructors pregnant. You drop the clothing line, and then you drop the classes too.
Hold on.
It just seems all too coincidental to me.
Time out. Is that news that you breaking in the chat, Nisi? It is or is that I don't know. Are there others that are pregnant we don't know about yet? No. Steph's on mute. That's all right. I won't go there on that one. I'll let that one go.
I'm just saying there needs to be something in the water. I don't know for sure, but for those of us who take live classes a lot, you notice which instructors be modifying, doing extra breaks. I'm gonna stay with the beginners today. Like, girl.
Okay.
No.
Well, if that's the path we're going down, then I would say we could throw Selena Samuela in there as well.
Wait a minute. If we talking about modifications
on her abs the whole time, just the other day that was live, and I was like, her abs has never looked that full.
Well, I'm just saying though. But if we talking about,
she looked a little full in the midsection. Maybe she had an extra burrito. I don't know. It was in the morning though.
Oh snap! Oh snap! Might be a whole bunch of people. Well, I'm just saying if we talking about modifications and doing a little less, and is an indicator, then I might be pregnant. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, you better shut up. I can't.
I'm just saying. But okay. All right. So go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to your original question about if Peloton is looking at others and kind of late for the pre and postnatal thing.
Right.
So I subscribe to way too many fitness things. So I have Obey Fitness, Apple Fitness, and Alo Moves. And all of them have had a large swath of prenatal and postnatal classes up to this point. And I've had other people and friends complain about the lack of it in Peloton. So a friend of mine was at pregnancy times, Robin, and she's been doing all the stuff, but like she said, I've been doing the same videos, the library's just not there like it is in some other places, but it's getting there and getting better. But I agree. I think this is a two-way street. One, they know they're behind, but taking advantage of instructors who are going through the process right now.
Right. I think you're right. That would make sense. That it's probably aligns to both of those topics. It's like they're playing a little bit of catch up, but it's a perfect time to do it because they've got that occurring within their ranks now. So yeah, I agree with that. Hey Ashley, how's it going? You there, Ash? You might be on mute. You there, Ashley? All right, we'll come back to Ash later on. But yeah, I agree with you, Adia. I think it's probably a combination of both of those things. So this next agenda item, I think aligns to this. It has a tie to it. Hey Ash, I saw you got off.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Trying to figure it out.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yes, I wanted to bring this up because I just had a baby actually this week.
So wow, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I've been following it, and this is actually my second pregnancy. One of the reasons I actually joined Peloton was to get into shape after I had my son a few years ago. Because of the convenience of having, workouts at home and even just the shorter workout time frames, fitting it in between, taking care of work and my son and everything around the house. So I thought Peloton is really primed and a great program for that, for moms specifically, but there's a huge community in Peloton of moms and even pregnancy groups. I'm a part of there's a prego and postpartum group. And one of the things is for years they've been saying that there hasn't been a lot of content, and that's kind of been a complaint. So I know that before Robin announced her pregnancy, there was a huge group of the instructors who either they are already certified in prenatal classes. Most of them were the yoga instructors, so a DT and someone I've already mentioned, Kristen McGee and Anna Greenberg. And then they were also some additional instructors who got their certification during that time. But I think they really like upped everything when Robin came out with her own like program. I think it was like prenatal and postnatal, and it was all just mostly her. So you had her program or collection, and then you had most of the content was yoga related. So like prenatal yoga. I think they like had an announcement around like, you know, pregnancy and yoga around that time. So now I think it's interesting that they just came out with this new collection where it's like a variety of different instructors, and they're really focusing on all the different aspects of recovery. So they have Emma doing core to like really get like your core together, because we all know like that's, you know, a problem after having a baby, and she's great in core. And then they have strength, and Robin's kind of extending her library, and then they have the yoga, and it's great too that they actually have instructors who are pregnant, so that you can actually see what they're doing, and why the modifications are important. So I used a lot of the classes, the prenatal classes, especially the yoga classes during my pregnancy, and they were great, especially just you know, because you know, just the pains and the aches and pains, the restorative yoga was amazing and life-changing. So I'm really excited to get into the postnatal programs now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you said something in there that I think I see in the chat that Candace mentioned about how before Robin, like the pre and postnatal stuff was basically yoga. And so I think, you know, it makes me wonder if you know, Robin was kind of instrumental in going, look, I want to do all this other stuff, and in bringing that to be. That would be interesting if that was her. And but also, oh gosh, I lost my question that quick. I had another question I wanted to ask you. Oh, that's all right. I'm getting old. It'll come back to me at some point.
Ashley, did you do any of Robin's classes like while she was pregnant? Like, as a pregnant person, did you do the classes that when Robin was pregnant and think that it was helpful or more modifications? Because honestly, Robin is a monster, and I found her hard regardless of whether or not she had Athena in her belly.
Yo,
That's
Steph,
true.
I was just gonna say that.
Right?
Yeah.
Her pregnant stomach is better than my non-pregnant stomach, and she was like bananas with those core classes. I was like, girl, I need a modification for the modification.
Robin ain't no joke.
I know, she is. No, I did. So I took her classes. I wasn't pregnant at the moment, but I did take her classes. And yeah, I mean, she's a beast regardless. But I think what was great about her actually taking her classes while she was pregnant was just like the mental part of it, because I think she really did a really good job of like telling you, you know, how to listen to your body, not pushing yourself. Like there's definitely a mental game when you're pregnant and you're working out, because, you know, I was used to hitting like PRs like every other week during my rides, and like, you know, really pushing myself during the boot camps. And then when you are in the middle of a pregnancy, you know, a lot of the women in the groups, we talk about the fact that you're not going to reach those numbers, and it's okay. And so a lot of it also is just the mental like talk and the motivation that they give you. That's really helpful as well. So I'm not surprised that they started with yoga, because I feel like just in prenatal, like, I guess, you know, in the fitness, you know, industry, like prenatal yoga is kind of like the typical thing that you see most moms, you know, default to. But I think it's great that they're also starting to encourage like strength training, because there's a stigma behind lifting weights while you're pregnant, but it's perfectly safe if you know what you're doing. And I don't know if anyone's seen the classes, but at the beginning they do have like a disclaimer that says like, you know, talk to your doctor, like, you know, if your doctor says that you shouldn't be doing any physical activity, or, you know, for whatever reason, like you need to follow your doctor's instructions. So they do have to have that at the beginning of all the classes.
Right. That makes sense. It makes sense that they would have to have that. I think it's awesome that they're building out this library. I think it's awesome that they're kind of focusing on this, regardless of what prompted it. I think the whole thing is pretty cool. Somebody, I think I just invited on stage, but I don't know if it worked. Looked like a new person with viewer. Did you have a comment? Test not. All right. Well, the next topic is an interesting one in that I think it aligns in a way to this one. Last week, I created a post. I shared a post in my group, and it was just a blog, an individual's blog, and they had blogged about Peloton. And their thought was that while Peloton talks and has their verbiage is about modification, and that we've got different body types, and if you can't like Dennis says, I make suggestions, you make decisions. They talk in that context, but the blogger was suggesting that they're not really walking that path because the instructors don't represent all sizes of their membership. And the blogger was also suggesting that the classes don't present a broad enough representation of ways that you can modify in the classes. So it started out as this really kind of celebrating Peloton kind of story, and then devolved in the blog to, but they're missing these two angles. And so I was interested in what the group's thought was on that. Like, I know they do modifications. I don't know to what degree they do them, especially once you start going to like floor-based and strength-based stuff. Because I do strength off of Peloton. I don't use Peloton for strength. But the idea that the instructors should look more like the community, that like struck a chord in my group. Like, some people were like, I don't want to be, an instructor that looks like I look like. And others were like, yeah, we need instructors that represent, our body types. So I don't know. Thoughts on that?
Well, I don't really think that's unique to Peloton. I think if you walk into any gym, any group fitness center, you're likely to not see every body type represented, from a staff perspective. I mean, I think that's just the nature of people who are in the fitness industry, is that you're going to have fit people leading classes. And, I think we do have diversity. I mean, you have somebody like Bex, who's an ultra elite runner and has that very kind of runner-like build. And then you have other instructors that are more masculine or a little bit, muscular, or have, a little bit more curves to them. I don't know. I do see diversity. I mean, I don't see a double X instructor leading a class, but I don't know if that's what people are looking for either.
Right.
I was going to say, I agree with Tammy. I actually think Peloton does a pretty good job of not having all of one type of instructor.
Yeah, right.
I think when you look at sizes, there's a wide variety of sizes. Maybe there's not anyone who would be considered a plus size instructor that's up there teaching, but they also don't have everyone who's a size 0. Like,
right.
There's very different body types and very different sizes that I think are pretty representative of what you would find if you went into a gym. And I don't know if you went into a gym, are you going to find someone who's a size 16 teaching a class? I don't know that you will.
Right.
I mean, when I was going to the gym, you wouldn't have. I don't know what it looks like now in this, in this current landscape. But yeah, even though the person who's a size 16 might be super fit and they might be able to teach a class, that's not necessarily what you're seeing. So I don't know that Peloton is doing anything drastically different than what's happening. And I don't know if they should be like faulted for that. I'm not offended by the way the instructors look. I'll be 47. I'm not offended by the fact that the only two older instructors are, I guess, Jen Sherman and Christine. I don't know who else. Maybe just Jen Sherman. Christine.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe Susie Chan. I think she's older.
Right.
But I don't care about that. Like, I don't need to see someone who's 47. Like, sure, it's great, whatever. But out of the 3 people I just listed who are in their 40s, I don't work out with any of them. So it clearly doesn't matter to me. I don't know. I think they do a pretty good job of representation across the board. And someone said, all the instructors have always been thin. That's not true. Because even before Tunde's book came out, you know that Tunde wasn't thin. She worked to get there.
Right.
So they don't all come from this thin athletic background that the person who wrote the article suggested that they come from.
Right.
They come from various walks of life, and I think that's more important than the fact that they don't have anyone who will be considered quote unquote a plus size instructor.
Well, I got a question.
I think it's more important to have like a wide variety of people.
I got a question for you, but I'm gonna hold it until I bring Kari in and Courtney. What's going on, Kari?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. No, I think with this topic, this could be a great opportunity for Peloton to reach out to the community and potentially find someone that's out there like hustling and they could come in and teach a class.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that would be an awesome opportunity for Peloton.
Car, we got too many damn instructors.
No, but think about it. I mean, it would be great for somebody to have this opportunity if they're really pushing it, and they've got maybe, I don't know, maybe they lead a Peloton group, or who knows, maybe they like rowers. I don't know.
Are we thinking like Christian Vanderbilt?
It kind of sounds like he's suggesting me. That's what it sounds like, because he's trying to make up all the shit he gives.
Danielle, you're going to beat our asses. Can we not? Can we not?
I would not beat your ass. That's so rude, Steph.
And what's going on with the adopted fitness instructor that they announced a few months ago? Is he coming on board soon?
I know they said he was going to be doing. Did they say training and like he was going to be doing some like consulting work with them? I can't remember how they described it, but I don't know. I don't know whatever happened with that. I'm not sure.
In the chat, they're saying June.
Okay. So
we got another month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that kind of aligned to my question too, because as the blog post was trying to suggest, there was all these varieties of modifications based on body that they thought Peloton wasn't focusing on, and I think that would be one, like the adaptive athlete. But yeah, if he's coming on in June, that's a good thing. What's going on, Courtney? I'm sorry. What's going on? Go ahead, Adi, and I'll jump to Courtney after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say real quick, I read that article too, and Apple Fitness does have, I would say maybe both, but just a larger yoga instructor. Janelle Lewis does a great job.
Right.
But I do get what they're saying. I follow on Instagram, I think Jasmine, and she does underbelly yoga. And so she teaches yoga specifically for plus-sized women. Not specifically, but she caters to them.
Right.
And there's a lot of modifications that just don't exist in Peloton because that's not my type. When to use stripes, how to do certain poses, if you can't bend a certain way, and things like that. She gives a lot of great changes for that, where like, unless you're in that body, you don't know that's the modification you need.
And there,
I don't know.
And therein lies the point this writer was trying to bring to the forefront. Like, you're right on it. That idea that it's just something that you wouldn't consider unless you were in that type, you had that body type. What's going on, Courtney?
Hey, I'm still taking these shadow boxing classes, ready to protect the talent to be on Peloton security.
Well, we needed you the other night because they were going crazy.
Chicago, so I don't know if she'll come to Chicago, but if she does, I'll slide into somebody's DMs and say, I'm ready. I'll bring my nunchucks and everything. But I read the article too. And I guess from my perspective, I agree with the body diversity, but I think Peloton has so many other opportunities in areas where they are diverse. And for me, Jess Sims has thick thighs. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have them too. Dr. Chelsea Jackson-Roberts got body yaddies for days. And I love it because she's also like doing yoga. So I don't know that the Peloton instructors, when I go to the gym, they don't necessarily represent that thin, kind of maybe Beck's body type, that it's a little bit more, to me, realistic of a healthy body type. But I do think perhaps in getting adaptive, that may be adaptive for those that have different capabilities, and then maybe also different body sizes may help. Maybe they just make some of those modifications. But I agree, no new instructors, no new friends, we're good. But I think maybe creating more of that awareness to allow for broader modifications for a broader, body diversity group.
Right.
But for me, I'm happy with what I see on the screen, because I think that looking from A to Z, like across the pond and everything, it's everyone looks so different to me. So, I mean, for me, at least, I see it.
Yep.
And John, I don't think people ride with instructors based on their body type.
See, yeah,
I think it's about their personality. It's about who they represent. Like I don't think it has anything to do with that. Just being straight up. Like I understand this.
Finally, Kari is right about something. Finally.
It
only took how many Clubhouse episodes?
I wasn't sure about that.
John, wait here for a sec. Oh, sorry, wait here for a sec. I mean, if I was leading marketing at Peloton, maybe bad connection here. I don't know if John can hear.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I said that marketing at Peloton, or content, you build a matrix. You build a matrix.
Oh, you're cutting on us, Dan.
Okay, is that better at all?
A little bit. Go ahead.
See if it's better at all. For some reason, I'm getting the bar again. Any better?
Yeah, that's
Not
a lot
really.
better. That's a lot better.
Okay. I said if I was leading marketing at Peloton, I'd build a matrix, and the matrix would say, like, is there an instructor for every kind of rider? So whether it's age, whether it's demographic, whether it's age, race, intensity. You think of Matt Welper as you think of people that miss Christian Vanderwall, whatever his status is. So I think that you'd build sort of an instructor, but I feel like you'd build it based on their ability to talk to new riders, their ability to talk to intense riders. I did not see the article, but I don't think it's about body shape. I think it's about, okay, I want to work hard. I'm going to go with Welpers today or do Power Zone. So I would build a matrix for content to make sure there's someone there that meets everybody's needs, and but not about body type. That's just my insight into what I would do if I was running content or marketing there.
I guess the open question in my mind, and I hear what you said, Kari, and I wasn't sure if that was accurate or not. Like, people, do they not, or do they? I wasn't sure if they ride based on similarities in what they can relate to from a body type perspective. I didn't really know, but I hear you. Maybe they don't. But to Adia's point, like, it makes me wonder if you don't have that. I think we do have some level of diversity there, but if you don't have a representation from all the various kind of body types, do you just innately kind of miss things because you don't have anybody in the room that represents that can tell you things that you would have no other way of knowing?
But I think it's also just like pregnancy. Like, you then ask and you source out that information. It's like being in a minority or Black at Peloton is you bring someone who represents that area and say, how does this feel in your body? How does this feel, for you? And I'm just saying that also when I was, I'm a yoga teacher, they asked me to come and help with their pregnancy because I was pregnant. And so I could actually describe to them how this modification felt in my body. And I think that would help them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, from my perspective, again, no new friends, that we need another instructor, but maybe someone of a larger, more, voluptuous body type, if you will, can give the instructors the sensation of, okay, when you do this, maybe offer this modification if this person is not able to fold over.
Right.
But I also think some of the instructors do, like
right.
Chelsea does. And I know Chelsea has body, Jess has body. I also want to shout out Marcel and Camilla.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirsten, these women are not thin. Their butts have shadows, so they're body goals. But I think maybe just a consultant or someone else to kind of do that sensitivity read to help broaden that. But I do personally feel that they offer lots of different modifications. Now, whether or not we want to take them, that's on us, because some of us be doing team too much.
Yeah.
But I got ladies first.
I was going to say, I just want to point out that for like the floor boot camps, though, when you get to 2-for-1 class, Selena teaches the whole class in a modified version, and Jess does the more advanced version. So even if in terms of like increasing the amount of reps that you do, Jess goes up and Selena stays the same. So I think that Peloton is really trying to make sure that everyone is, covered and feels comfortable trying something. Because this 2-for-1, they definitely made it a point to be like, okay, Selena's going to do the modification. She's always on her knees. Mm-hmm. If she's doing like the push-ups, she does the push-ups from her knees. She does the burpees where she may walk her feet in and not do the jump. Mm-hmm. Same thing for like the thrusters. She may walk her feet in, whereas Jess does the most. I mean, because what else would Jess do other than the most? So I think Peloton is trying to kind of make sure that everyone is covered. So for people who think, oh, this isn't really a beginner level class, I can't do it, I think they're starting to make sure you have that ability to try it.
Okay, I ended up asking the question. Go ahead, Dan.
Sorry.
No
yeah, I just wanted I'm going to dart off. I wanted to share a story, and I have to kind of change the names a little bit in the event. But when I was at Saucony, I believe, we had a trade show. And at the trade show, there was somebody who was selling – I'm changing some things here – but somebody who was selling the sponsorships for – let's say the Ironman, and the person who was selling sponsorships was about 5'8", maybe 300 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I loved him, and he was really good at selling sponsorships. But about 4 or 5 people who were senior marketing people at brands and companies and tech and athletic apparel had a very mature conversation at the bar that night about if he walked into your office, would you hire him? Because he's, the person selling sponsorships and meeting with companies should exude the brand. And it was a very mature conversation, and somewhat, there's analogies here, and it was sort of split down the middle. I think the guy's great. He sells a lot of sponsorships. He's excellent, but he's never run the marathon and, may not look the part. So it was very senior people in a very, very mature conversation. But I do think that, someone said, would they hire somebody who is, who may not be may not look like the instructors today. And I would say it's the same thing. I would say it's probably a torn conversation there. So, to be honest, there were a lot of people in this conversation, to wrap it up, who said, I would not hire him. And it's just, he's not, you're talking about an endurance event that you have to look the part. So I don't know. I don't know if that's relevant or not to anyone, but it's a conversation that's always stayed with me from 10 years ago, mainly because of the maturity of the discussion, but also the honesty about whether these senior people, CMOs at all these brands, would hire them. So I don't know. I think the answer is they are not going to necessarily have somebody who is, who is size 13 or 15 or whatever the size is. I think they would maybe net out 51-49 not to go ahead. It's just reality.
Yeah, and I think that would be, I think there's some variances in there, but I think they would be making a mistake if they took that tact from a fitness instructor perspective. Like if they went that hard and direct with it, I think they'd be making a mistake. I don't think Peloton has gone that hard and direct with it the way in what you described. Because I think aligning with what Courtney and some of the others have said, I think we do have instructors and we have a diversity in age and body size, and what you just described seemed like we wouldn't have even had that. Like hopefully they're not that hard and fast with it. But anyway, what's going on, Charlotte?
Hi, John. Welcome back.
Thank you.
No, I just want to, I think Danielle already addressed it, but being of more advanced age and having several injuries, both knees, and torn ACL in one, torn meniscus, spinal stenosis that I've had 2 epidurals on, I would be more in favor of a demo of a modification versus, having more diversity. I think, again, like everyone has said, we have diversity in instructors. And for me, it's basically when I select an instructor, they don't need to look like me or anything, but I look at, playlists and, how well I vibe with them, how great their class is, structure. I'm more of a structure person. That's why I'm a Power Zone fanatic. But I would like to see in the strength classes, they'll say, well, you can modify. A lot of times they don't show a modification. You know, this is how I am dating myself here. Jane Fonda. Back in the day, used to do Jane Fonda videos, and then, what was it, P90X?
Yeah.
Beachbody. Yeah. Where they would have other people in the class kind of showing it. And I don't have a guide, so I have not been had the privilege to take any of those floor boot camp classes. But what Danielle said about Selena actually doing the modifications, I like that idea. I don't know, maybe they can throw 2 instructors in a class, and one is doing the modifications, and while the other one's showing, you know, because I still don't know if someone can give me a modification for a burpee, I'd appreciate it. I used to be able to do them, but my back was the final straw, so I can't do them at all now. But, you know, something with the similar intensity. I'm all for the intensity and all that. Like, I power walk a lot of the runs on my tread and all of that, but I cannot do at higher inclines. What I did like, I would have, and I guess, you know, you have your walks. I guess for the walkers, it's the walks, and the runs are the runs. But Orange Theory would throw out, if I were doing a run class and there's a walker in the class, why not throw out, okay, they would cue speeds and incline. That would kind of be equivalent to run speed. I would like to see that. I was going to actually suggest that to Peloton. I don't know. But maybe the runners wouldn't be in favor of that. But we were all in the class together. No one ever felt like you were getting a great workout. I was getting as many splat points as a lot of the runners doing that. So I kind of have to cue myself.
Right.
But, you know, those are the things that I would like to see. But I think, yeah, our instructors are diverse. I mean, I think they've done a great job with that.
What you talked about is right on into the next topic. But before I go there, Candace in the chat said her modification for burpees is to just not do them. Yeah, that's mine too, Candace.
I know that's right, Candace. That's what ends up happening. I'm doing squats. I don't know. I would love to know a modification though.
I was super happy today because I did them all. I did my last two final floor boot camp classes today, and I hit the burpees on all of them, so the movement tracker filled up the whole time. But I remember before when I was doing them, it popped up and it was like, the move you need to work on is burpees, and I was like, F you, God, I ain't working on burpees. Like, you get what you get. Like, if I stop, I stop.
All right.
This is what it is. Accept it and be happy, guide. Don't come at me about these damn burpees.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Danielle. If in fact Selena is doing a modification, how does that work with the movement tracker?
She's doing a thruster.
She's doing a thruster. So if I were to do a thruster, I could get, it would have the same effect on the movement tracker. I would get credit for that. If in fact, you know. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I found, honestly, with the movement tracker is as long as you're in close to the position, like, you can't completely do something off the rail. So if they're doing burpees, you can't do like crunches and think it's going to track you, because it doesn't. But if you're pretty close to what the movement is, it seems to still track you.
So you're going up down, basically. You'll
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So even if you're walking your feet in instead of jumping them in, and then you're standing up, it still seems to track you for that.
Yeah. Those are so hard.
But you have to still be pretty close to the movement.
I know, exactly. And that's what I do. I walk them in, and they're so hard with those EMOMs. But yeah, I'm like, I want some rest.
Okay.
Yeah, they're disgusting. And Jess if anyone is doing the floor boot camp and you get to the last week, classes 3 and the last 2 classes, I don't recommend doing on the same day. Just as a public service announcement, because I did it today so that I wouldn't run out of time. I did them both today after the Saturday 60, and I do not recommend. My Yelp review is 0 out of 10 stars. It was disgusting. Don't do together.
By the way, what's going on, Mel? I see you in the chat. Mel said her go-to modification is child pose. I'm going to have to do that, too. That's going to be my modification, too, Mel. is child pose. That's what I'm gonna do. But all right, the next topic actually aligns to all of this. All of these three agenda items, I think, all kind of align. So FitOn, which is an app where I think all of it's outside of a connected fitness device. I think it's all kind of video-based classes. They got over 10 million subs. I know they have a freemium offering. So, take that as you may. It doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know how many paid subs they have. But they got a lot of subs, and they've got a collaboration with Nautilus. And they just introduced classes for seniors and those with chronic conditions, specifically around this, where there are modifications so that, based on your, the area where you may have a chronic pain or chronic condition, they can show you how you're going to modify to actually be able to get that, the work in. Right. So it's like I'm seeing this concept in discussion, like the blog post we talked about earlier, or in fitness or connected fitness providers just adding it to their lineup as an important aspect, right? And to me, it aligns to the idea of body types and the modifications based on that. It's just they're aligning to some people, like for me, example, I align with what you talked about, Charlotte. Like, I don't consider myself all that old. I'm 52, but I've had both ACLs and both knees. I've had them both torn. I had, and if you know anything about ACL tears, especially if you have complete severs, and I had complete severs, so they got to take a graft from somewhere to replace it. And I know these days you can do a synthetic, but they got to take a graft from somewhere. So to get the graft to replace the ACL, they had to pull that from my quad tendon. So of course I got this zipper down, my leg where has nothing to do with the ACL, but it's where they had to cut into my leg to go get a graft out of my quad tendon to use to replace the ACL, right? So now I have problems with my quad tendon because that's where they took the ACL, from. I have, and because I had same issues in both knees, I got the same issue in both of them. My knees don't look all that nice now because of all these surgeries, which is probably why I like long shorts. But and I've had surgeries for meniscus in both. I've had multiple back surgeries for ruptured discs, and so I have the same problems as you, Charlotte. Getting up, trying to do a burpee, and then trying to roll my way back up, that could be a problem quick. Or doing anything that involves my knees too much, that could be a problem pretty quick. So I often have to make modifications, and a lot of times it's me just not taking certain classes because I know they just ain't going to modify to the scenario that I'm going to, and I'm going to have to adjust it, and my mental stops me. So this idea that they're now kind of focusing on that with the FitOn app, it made me wonder, similar to the body types question, should Peloton be doing a better job with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know there is a love-hate relationship with Apple Fitness in this group, but so my parents are both in their late 60s, early 70s, and they're starting to get more into fitness since I started doing more Peloton stuff. And starting them straight off with the Peloton strengths, even the beginner strength program was a bit much. But the nice thing about Apple Fitness, and they've been doing this since launch, every class has 3 instructors. The instructor on the left will do all the moves modified. The instructor in the middle does the base, and the instructor on the right will do the base or advance. And so I even had my mom do a HIIT class, and she was able to follow the instructor on the left for the entire time because there was modifications for everything. And I feel like that's why I recommend it first for people who may have never done fitness prior to this, or it's their first entry into it, because you can take any class. It doesn't feel like, I have to do the modified version, or I have to go to this special section to do these classes. Every class is for everyone.
Yeah.
And I know Peloton, that's not their main aim, but I feel like they could be doing a better job at it.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. I guess I'm more wondering, and I agree completely with you, Adia. I think they could be doing a better job there. It makes me wonder if that's not really, is that not really the benefit in their business model? Like, is it more beneficial to them in growing subs to just focus on building the celebrity of the instructor, and not as much about kind of this this kind of a broader scope of representation around modification? Like, I don't, it makes me wonder that, right? Like, I don't know. And maybe that's blasphemy, but but I don't always think before I speak. But that's kind of my thought. I don't know.
Maybe they could, like I've described before, that I'm an iFit member, and they have instructors who have, I know we don't want any more instructors, but who have physical therapy backgrounds, or as a consultant maybe, and so they don't have to bring on another instructor. But I think that would, as some of us, and John, I beat you by 5 years. I'm going to be 57 next week.
Okay.
Today, actually. But
happy early birthday.
Thank you. That would be I think a good direction to move in as we age, and then we can grow. Peloton can grow with us, or
right.
grow old with us, older, more mature.
Yeah,
put it that way.
That's right. Yeah, maybe it will evolve innately, just as it seems like the prenatal stuff has evolved innately. Maybe it'll just kind of innately evolve from a community perspective as the instructor's age. I don't know, but but again, I kind of I kind of beat my body up when I was younger. Like, I did a lot of dumb things, and I rarely went to the doctor. And so I know it's not really an age thing with me. My issue was just an idiot thing. So I just got a lot of problems. But it makes me, I can't be alone. There's got to be other folks like me that need a level of modification that may not be represented. So yeah, that was kind of my thought.
Did you play sports? Play football? Because that sounds like a whole bunch of football.
Yeah, actually, I played a lot of basketball, and
basketball.
Yeah, I played a lot of basketball. So I all my injuries are all basketball related. I've broken my nose at least 7 times, and Erica's had to deal with me when that happens.
Oh, wow!
And and a lot of knee and finger issues. That's a basketball thing. A lot of broken fingers and dislocated fingers and stuff like that.
You still have your Achilles?
Yeah, luckily I had a lot of people around me that had those Achilles injuries, and that's an ugly thing. I've seen people's calf muscle just kind of spring up into their leg, and that is an ugly thing. I've always, that's one I never wanted. I never wanted.
My husband had that from basketball, so yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's an ugly one right there. That and I've had a lot of friends who have had broken jaws, through the elbows in basketball, and that's another one I've never wanted. Watching them having their mouth wired for 4 weeks is the craziest thing I ever seen. I don't want that either. But
don't do that.
Yeah, but yeah, the modifications are something that I think I think that they should probably concentrate on. I don't know, but I know also that we can on our own make our own decisions, like Dennis says, and decide that we're going to modify ourselves. I just within these classes, and that's what I tend to do. Just try to figure out ways to what I'm going to do and what I know I can do, and so I just kind of make my own adjustments. But I think I don't know. I think it probably would be better if they did something to align to that a little bit better.
I definitely think they should, have more modifications. I'm really good at making my own, especially when it comes to like running during the run classes or the tread boot camp classes. But I see a lot of people who post in various groups and they're like, oh, well, what do I do if I can't hit that speed? And I'm like, they even tell you to go at what feels, good for you. But I think some people just can't wrap their minds around it, where like, if they're calling out a 9.5 for a sprint and you can't hit a 9.5, maybe a 6 is a sprint for you. Just do your sprint at 6.
Right.
But I think some people can't wrap their heads around that because the instructors aren't saying it. Whereas me, it's like, girl, I ain't running at no 9.5. Like, the only way my treadmill's hitting 9.5 is if I'm not on it. And I'm comfortable with that. Like, I know my lane. But I think some people need to actually hear it's okay if your sprint is not a 9.5.
Right.
Hit your sprint at a 6. Maybe your sprint is a 4.5 today. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Do it. If that's a sprint for you, do it.
Right.
So I think Peloton does have to be a little bit more aware of being a little bit more, explicit in what they're saying. So even though they say, okay, if you can't hit a 9.5, do what's good for you, but maybe say, hey, if a sprint is a 4.5 for you, sprint at 4.5.
Right.
Do you.
Right.
Do what feels like a sprint to you.
Right.
And maybe they should, go back to using the perceived exertion method instead of just calling out numbers. Like a sprint should feel like a 9. Is this a 9 for you on the exertion scale of 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
Then hit a 9 on the exertion scale. And whatever that speed is on the tread for you, then that's perfect. You know what I mean? And maybe an exertion for me on the tread is a 4.5. An exertion for, someone crazy like Jess Minardi might be a 10 on the tread.
Right.
But it's the exertion scale and not the miles per hour. So I definitely think Peloton can work on using that. I
agree with you that like a lot of it is like a mental, personal thing. It's like just the, people, like someone said in the chat, like people are, I think it was Candace, like people are easily discouraged. And I think there's a mental aspect to it, that, makes it so that I think it's helpful when they reiterate that, like, like you said, if you can't do that today, then you can't do this or do something else in a way that kind of, gives them that a mental allowance to kind of just, okay, let me kind of back this down a little bit. I hear you. I don't know how they do that, but I hear you. That makes sense.
They don't use the RPE scale very often. You'll hear it in some classes, but they don't use it very often. I think they should incorporate using it more, because I think when you use it, instead of using numbers on the tread, it gives people the opportunity to work at what their level is.
Right.
And a lot of people really do get hung up on they're not hitting the numbers that the instructors call out. Like if anyone has ever worked out with Olivia, she'll tell you to like run it like a 10, like it's nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, the only time my tread has seen a 10 is when my 17-year-old has been on it. And I was like, yo, you're going to break my tread because it's not used to these numbers. Like,
right.
So, but you know what I mean? It's like certain instructors have really high numbers and really high expectations. So I just kind of think they would be better off if they want to be more inclusive of like everyone's levels of using the RPE scale more often than they use the numbers. Like you can still put the numbers on the screen when it says, where it gives you the ranges, but it would be nice if the instructor just kind of said, you want to be at a 7 on the RPE scale of 1 to 10.
Right.
Just my opinion.
Well, I agree 100%. I don't take tread boot camps, and I first started taking them when Rebecca does hiking boot camps because I'm trying to learn to run. It's a struggle.
Ooh, me too, Adia.
And so I took Daniel's EDM boot camp because I was like, all right, the music looks great. I love the EDM classes. And he did exactly what you said. Like, he's like, at this place, I'm at a jog, but I want you at your base where you can, like, breathe easy. If that's a walk for you, do a walk, whatever. And the entire time, he kept on going, like, all right, go to your next level. If this is where I want you to hit your fastest walk, if that's where you're getting, or your fastest speed. And I felt so confident in that class. I even ran a little at the end.
Right.
I was so pumped. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Danielle. They should use more exertion or, like, your next level. And I feel they would probably see a ton more. Because I want to do more tread boot camps, but I can only run so long.
Right.
And I know I can walk, and it's in my own mental block I have to get past. I feel like if I'm not doing what the instructors say, I'm not getting the workout I'm supposed to be getting.
Right.
I definitely suggest just doing them. Doing the workouts and doing it at your level, regardless of what the instructors say. I do it all the time. I never hit Jess's numbers. They're just not for me. I'm not there. And I've been running for years. I'm not a new runner. I've run probably like 6 half marathons or so. Like, I'm not a new runner, but I'm just not at those levels of running for those speeds. And I just do what I can. So I definitely tell you, take more tread boot camps, because they're still great workouts, and work them at your level. Even if they're not using the RPE scale, you use the RPE scale, because you know what's a sprint for you. Like, you know, regardless. If Jess says a sprint is a 9 and that's not your sprint, you know what your sprint is. So just go to your sprint and sprint for however long you're supposed to be sprinting. You know what your run is. You know what your jog is. So just get out of your own head and do what works for you.
I think that's the core thing. It's like, yeah, that's the challenge, getting out of your own head. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely on the tread stuff. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and with the RPE scale, I've gone outside a little bit more recently with the weather getting nicer, and I tend to hear that on those outdoor classes, and maybe it's because they're typically not done on a tread, but I agree with Danielle. It does make sense to be able to use that scale so you can kind of hear what makes the most sense for you when you're going through your level of exertion. So
I like that idea.
But they definitely use it on the outdoor classes.
Right. Yeah. They don't have the other metrics, so it makes sense they would do it there. And I think I love that idea. I think that probably makes a lot of sense. And I'm with you, Danielle. I think it's a mental thing. I think that's a core to it. But I do a similar thing. I try to just tell myself, look, John, you can't do that. You might have been able to do that 10 years ago, but you can't do that now. So we're going to change. So, yeah.
Is that what they say in the Uncle Barry?
Wait, this is perfect timing that we bring up Uncle Barry, because that's the next topic. Because I don't know what's going on with Peloton stock. So that's all I put on the agenda for that item. I just put Peloton stock with a wow face. And so what is prompting all this? Is this just economy, inflation, the market, and they're just a part of, a broader issue now? Is Peloton struggling because connected fitness just isn't what it was before? What is going on with them? Anyone have any ideas or thoughts? Hey, Lori, how's it going?
Hey, John. Good. Sorry, I've missed the last couple, but listened to them on Spotify, so never really missed them.
Oh, no worries at all.
Just a thought on that. I think, so we own Nautilus stock as well, and yes, it's an old school stock, but if I compare the losses we've taken on Peloton to Nautilus, they're the exact percentage-wise, right? Yeah. It's not the amount that we pay for stock, but I think what we're seeing is a return to pre-pandemic kind of thought processes, no matter what's happening. People don't want to go back to just staying at home. I mean, we love our Peloton. I love my move. My sister just bought the guide. Like, she loves that. But I think it's twofold. One, I think that there's just been a lot of changes, and there's going to be a lot more coming. And I think I spoke to this months ago when Barry took over. But I don't think he's there just to make nice. And I think some of the market reaction to the 20% potential hopeful, influx of cash is just making the market nervous. But if you look at the overall market, the market is up and down too. So, I own Ford. Ford is up, down. I mean, I own Logic. There's just so many variables that are playing into this right now. The unsettled economy, the unsettled, European conflict. You have a war, and I'm not belittling it by any means. But what I'm saying is that when you look at the overall process, Peloton rose very quickly and then fell very quickly. And I think they just need to find their footing. And I don't know if a 20% minority will come in and buy. But if they do, that's a boost. But I don't know if anybody wants to chime in. I think long term, I don't know if they're looking to stay as just Peloton. However, before anybody kills me for saying that, I think they don't have a long term yet. It just doesn't seem, it seems like they're very reactive to the situation that Barry walked into. I don't think he's handled it the best, and I don't think going forward he's going to be the right guy to stay and bring them out into being a performer in the stock market again. I think he was just brought in to shed and to kind of figure out cash. And then once that's done, I think they still have to get in a visionary. They still have to bring back what Peloton was and why we all signed up. But that's just my thought process.
So here's my here's what runs through my mind about this. I agree with pretty much everything you said, by the way. Like I know that there are dynamics within the market right now that align to the connected fitness space, and therefore, whether you're looking at Nautilus or those are the core ones that you can see similarities in, or Peloton, you see a similar thing, which makes me think, yeah, this is aligning to connected fitness. Like this is a reopening and the market kind of speaking with regards to what they think about connected fitness. So that's one piece of it in my mind. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. They rose real quick and now they drop real quick, and it's not just them. It's a part of that space. So, okay. And then there's the other side of it in my mind that, okay, and we also know that there are, like you said, there's fighting going on, there's inflation, gas prices are all nuts, and the Fed is saying they're going to, raise interest rates, and we know that's coming, and all this stuff is happening. So then I'm thinking, okay, that's probably another piece of it as well. And so, like you said, it's like they just kind of need to find their footing. But there was one thing you said in there that's very interesting to me, that is where the biggest dilemma in my head is. And that is, 3 years ago, I was like, they have a fantastic idea here. Maybe I'll say 5 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was. They got a fantastic thing that going here. In and of itself, it's self-contained, and it can succeed on its own, and this thing is gonna blow up. Now when I look at it, I go, well, they got 3 million subs, which seems really successful. But I don't know if singularly they can, is that by itself its own kind of unicorn thing? Now I don't see it the same, right? Now I'm going, does that have to align with some other offering? I don't know if anybody else thinks that way. That's where my mind is going now. But because of their troubles, I guess.
My only comment to that, and again, we own Beachbody stock too, and that's taken a huge hit over we own Body, and it's now, last I looked, it was like $1.56. Like, I'm waiting for it just to be like a penny stock at this point, right?
Right.
I think, and this is just me, the churn rates are still low. I think that they've got the subscribers. I think that the jitters are that there's been so many changes. That Wall Street is just looking at Peloton like it used to be a beauty, and now it's kind of the ugly stepchild. But I don't think we've heard everything, because we haven't gotten to the next call and heard real numbers after the price increase and things like that. So I think market-wise, I think they're just reacting to the fallout from the whole. I still think we're reacting to the fallout from Foley being replaced by Barry in terms of his position, not in terms of his influence. And I still think that, as a visionary as Foley was and is, I don't know if they're marrying the two. I think Barry's numbers, Foley's visionary, and I don't think they're doing a good job of marrying the two. I hope, and Danielle, I swear to God, I hope that rower comes out. How many will buy it right now? I don't know if market timing. I think the problem with Peloton is they've announced things months and months ahead of time, and it's just timing to the market. And timing to the market for a rower whether or not inflation, you have money, you don't, it's going to make a big difference. And before, where people were like, you know what, I'll put it on a credit card or on a firm, I'll pay on time. Now people are like, well, you know what, I really don't have that extra cash to even do the $60 a month payment. So I think it's timing. I think Peloton's timing since the bike has just been off. Yeah. In terms of new product to market. And I think Body and Nautilus are experiencing the same thing. They're not bringing new, they're regurgitating old. So let's hope this rower is like a rock star and kind of boosts the stock. But I think ultimately they're underperforming to what the expectations were when they were $170 per share.
Yeah, they were very reactive. I mean, going back longer than that in my mind, Lori, I think they've been reactive since like mid last year. Like,
I agree. Yeah. Since the first bike came out, I think they're just reacting. I think they're just missing the mark. If they would get to market first, they'd be the golden child.
Right.
But for some reason, everything just gets dragged in. Yes, pandemic and supply, but then they started that whole warehouse, the new, manufacturing site, and then that had to get shelved. And I just think that time to market is crucial in the home gym market. And when you don't hit what you say you're going to hit, then Wall Street's going to react, and they're not going to have the confidence to boost your stock by offering you as a good buy. They're not going to put you in a portfolio with folks. So I think that's just part of it. That's part of it. That's just my opinion.
What's interesting to me is I see some of the things in our revere for like Peloton and how we love it, and how many people you have out there that are just such, fanatics over the brand. And what I just saw at Tunde's event and how successful it's made these individuals and popular in pop culture. And so that you see all these channels of clear success that just doesn't translate, to the business and revenue and net income. Like it just, and that's where I hear what you're saying as well, Lori. It's like I'm not sure what Uncle Barry is doing. I don't know what's about to come out at homecoming, other than the rower. But I even wonder how much of an effect would the rower have as well, right? It's like, the biggest player in the space with these rowers has like, 200,000 subs? I mean, so what are they really expecting to get from a subs perspective out of a rower?
I think you'll get, and I think, John, one of the biggest things during the pandemic was when you have CrossFit, there's rowers. That's an integral part of the workout. And I think that Peloton, because of the substantial base that they have, may grab a good portion of a, say, post-pandemic, don't want to pay $160 a month to a gym when I can do all of that at home with my spin bike that I already own, my treadmill. I have weights, and I have now a rower, and I think that can be incorporated. I think, and again, in my humble opinion, I'm not a Wall Street person. I think they'll see an initial slight boost, but again, I think the problem is they spend way too much time in development and not enough time thinking about getting it to market. In terms of, if they had gotten the rower to market in the pandemic era, when we were on lockdown, it would have been a gold mine.
Yes.
But they spend years.
Right.
And I don't, they'll spend less time on their clothing, which, okay, but they spend years on getting something to market that shouldn't be in terms of what's already out there. You have to make sure you're not infringing on patents or trademarks or whatever have you, but they take years to get equipment to market, and something their development team just has to get a little bit quicker on the ball with developing it, getting it into the trademark or patent area, and rolling the dice and just saying, look, we're going to go, we want to put up quality product out. You have to, but they literally, the Bike Plus, to me, they should have put the rower out before they put the Bike Plus out. That's just me. Don't kill me if you love the Bike Plus, but in my opinion, a rower should have come first. The guide should have come first.
Yeah.
The Bike Plus should have been ancillary afterwards.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I agree with you.
I'm just going to say, as someone who, we all know that I'm dying for the rower. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I will say, if they do bring out like the rower boot camp, I think it will target a lot of the Orange Theory people.
And we know they're going to do that.
Want to go back to the gym.
And we already know that they're planning to do rowing boot camps. And I'm very interested to see how this thing plays. I mean, of course, we're planning to get one if they drop it. I know you are, Danielle. I'm really interested, but we're already current subs, right? It's like I don't know that we really help them, but I'm really interested in if they're able to attract new subs with this rower, and if it's like you said, if there's some specific group of people that love boot camps with rowers or something that I'm not thinking of now, and they all run out, and all of a sudden they get a whole bunch of new subs off this. Like how this plays. Like I'm really interested in seeing that.
I'm hoping that'll happen, John. But I think Lisa mentioned something, and Danielle, yes, I listened to Lisa.
Lisa's the only reason why you're even allowed here.
Wow.
Just so we're clear.
Wow.
Just so it's on record and it's verbally said.
Awesome.
It is only Lisa that allows you to be here. So, just so we're clear.
Tell Lisa,
Love you, Lisa.
Tell
Your
Lisa
husband,
we said
not so
hi.
much.
Tell Lisa we said hi. Okay, I Lisa.
But what she was saying is that Orange Theory people like the in-person interaction.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm not saying all of them will get a rower and go home. But I think the big benefit with the Orange Theory piece is the in-person thing. So I don't necessarily think that'll change to some degree, and maybe we'll get some good subs off of that possibly. But I still don't think. I don't know. We'll look at the numbers. I don't think Peloton's doing that bad, and I know that we've had some challenges in the past, but a lot of companies have challenges over the years, and Peloton's a young company, and when you kind of look at companies from the start, I mean, they make hiccups, they slip up, they could make mistakes, and things can happen. Yeah. But I'll say this in broader scale, like we talked about earlier, stocks are down, but there are definitely people out waiting to scoop companies up right now. And if anything, I think Kathy Wood, I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she was scooping up a lot of stocks on Friday. Mm-hmm. I think she picked up a lot of Zoom.
This is the time.
A lot of Robinhood. I mean, why wouldn't you?
This is the time. This is the time.
Look at this in a year and go, wow, look how low things were.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the cycle, the history of how this works. And yeah. I don't know if anybody's really thinking about that, but anyways.
This is definitely the time. I'm with you on that one. What's going on, Dan? You there, Dan? Oh, we lost him. That's all right. I'll move away from that one, but I'm with you on that one, Carl. I think that this is definitely the time. I'm really interested in this earning call, so we'll hear what they have to say and how it affects them. But and I'm also interested in kind of like the who's going to talk. Like, is it going to be still John Foley, or are we going to be hearing from Uncle Barry? I'm interested in that whole dynamic too. I just want to hear like who's delivering the messages, who's answering the questions. So we'll see. All right.
I mean, doesn't it have to be Uncle Barry though?
Yeah, I think it has to be Uncle Barry. I mean, the assumption is it has to be Uncle Barry, but I don't know that Uncle Barry's. I didn't get the impression on Mad Money that Uncle Barry is the best orator and communicator. Now maybe he is, but I didn't get that impression. That's all. That's what
I agree with that.
So
he may need to phone a friend.
That's where I'm at. He might need to phone a friend, and I don't know if that's a good look of confidence. And so that's what.
Not phone a friend. He needs a lifeline.
We can't be having Uncle Barry phoning friends and asking for lifelines. And maybe I'm just, I don't know. And I know he was a CFO, and now he's the CEO. And I don't know. We'll find out. We're gonna find out.
What's your name in, John?
I don't want nothing to do with that. But anyway.
I mean, you were kissing babies and shaking hands the other day, so I mean, it's kind of fitting if you want to make the speech at homecoming.
I was out there at the Gramercy feeling all thin and everything, You know, all up. My head was swole. I barely got through the door, Danielle. My head was so
confidence is lit.
Anyway, one Peloton club, $59 a month, nothing down. You just renting a bike. The $59 includes the $44 monthly subscription. So you're basically just paying an extra $15 a month, and you didn't have to pay $1,100, $1,400, whatever the bike costs. I don't know what it costs now. Changes on me. So when I saw that, I thought, damn, weren't they making some kind of margins off the hardware? That's gone. Like, what's this gonna mean? Like, and this was the first thing in my mind for like revenue and net income. Like, what is this gonna mean? And wouldn't everybody do that? Like, who wouldn't do that? Like, especially since the $15 above the $44 that you're paying in the monthly, you're not losing it. After a year, you can say, okay, I'll buy the bike, and all that extra $15 that you paid for the last 12 months is applied towards the purchase of the bike. So now I'm like, wouldn't like everybody do that? Like, who wouldn't do that?
Me.
No? You wouldn't do that, Laura?
No. You know what? I don't know if their margins were so good on the hardware to begin with, John. Even coming from China, you're still paying for freight. You're still paying for, any taxes and whatever. I'm losing my train of thought on what incoming, the levies that whatever we put on China. But hardware is a tough thing. I think hardware is something that you really hope you make margin on, but you might really not, because I think that's where they're struggling, because they're not getting things to market so quickly, because I don't think the hardware margin is where it's at. It's really in the membership chart, right? It's in the membership.
Historically, the hardware margin was still somewhere between 20 and 30% historically.
It is, but that's awful. You want in true to market, direct to consumer, you want at least a 55 to 60% margin. And when you're only getting 20 to 35, you're not covering your inbound costs. You're covering the cost of manufacture. So it's interesting, because a lot of times what companies do is they take shipping out of the direct cost. So they'll put that at the corporate level to avoid the margin loss on the actual product. So when you're importing from any country, a lot of the time the development and shipping and all of the associated fees are put into the overhead at corporate, which takes out of the corporate margin but leaves your hardware margin intact. So if they did that, I'm only surmising, I don't know that they did that, this is most manufacturing companies do, then all of that associated cost of development, trips over, making sure that the design was good, making sure that all of the molds are there, all of that is worked into corporate and not put at the product line cost. So my question is, what is their true hardware margin? And really, was it really what they thought it was? And is that why they're seeing the decline? And now they're with Barry, they're going into this, get it to market with an extra $15 over whatever. But in the long term, you return that bike, you're losing that money you put into it. You're not getting that back. You're not getting, if you don't like Peloton and after a year you say I'm returning that bike, no, you're not getting that money back.
Right.
I own it right now. So at least if I don't like it, I can sell it. Don't skewer me.
No, that makes sense. I get you. I get why. Okay. Like I get that perspective. That makes sense to me. From a Peloton perspective, in the short term, I don't know, maybe it helps them gain more subs. But doesn't it look like revenue fell, and doesn't it have an impact on short-term net income, and thus wouldn't they take some type of hit by analysts in this coming earnings call over that?
Well, it dilutes the brand. It dilutes the actual value of the brand, because now it looks like it's desperation, especially with the 20% announcement. So I think it might backfire on them.
Yeah, and I'm wondering about that. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's just the smartest thing in the world, and I'm just, layman, dumbass John, he doesn't know, and they just did some diabolical thing, or if it's just like, a misstep. Like, I don't know, but we'll see. I guess we'll see at the earnings call. What's going on, Jamie?
Hey, everybody. I was just going to add an FYI. I was in a showroom on Thursday and just chatting with the folks there. And I asked them, have you guys been busy? How's, the Mother's Day promotion going? Are you getting lots of calls? And they said they had been busy and they were getting a lot of calls from folks about the One Peloton membership. I'm in North Atlanta, and they were phase 2 of the cities to be added. And she said they've had tons of calls and appointments about it. And I was curious, really kind of almost to come back here and tell y'all, is it, corporate people that are doing it? Is it local, people? Like, who is interested in this? And they said it was people that had, kind of had some interest previously, but they were a little bit afraid of the commitment. They'd kind of already been considering it and deciding to pull the trigger because it was an all-in-one thing. It wasn't a huge commitment, and they went from there. But they said it's been working really well for them. So
that's awesome. I hope that's the case. That would be awesome, especially since there's all these limitations on it. It's only in 30 markets. You can't have a current Peloton All Access or Connected Fitness sub with them. You can't have a current product in order to take advantage of this. You can't have had a Peloton product in the past. You literally have to be truly a new sub for the first time ever to take it. So it has all these limitations. So I always wondered, I wondered how well will this really do, and will they expand it? Like, I'm hoping at some point they kind of expand it. I know there's a whole lot of people that just want to grab something to add a second bike, or have had a bike in the past and now, with this costing difference, want to then get one. I'm hoping that they kind of change that. But if they're having success with the current limitations, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So just figured I'd throw that out there.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
I wonder if they're going to do that with the rower.
Yeah, I know. I wonder.
Then I might jump on that, because then I could return it if I don't use it.
Then you'd be on that line. You're right. If they did that, I might do it that way too. I mean, I don't see what am I losing? Other than if I decide I don't like it in a year, whatever that above and beyond is. Yeah. So we'll see. All right, cool. Next topic I had on here was you guys have to tell me about this one, because I don't know anything about this one. I was out of town. I heard there was a Peloton Guy Mother's Day special. I heard there was something. And then people were getting an extra, I don't know, $150 off the package. And I don't know if that was $150 off the guide, or if it was $150 off some combined purchase. I don't know what that was. What? Anybody here know the details of that?
Uncle Barry wants to get rid of it.
Hey, Uncle Barry was like, this thing gotta go.
Discount. We got a holiday coming up. Discount.
Yeah, I know. I think it's really funny how they came out with the guide, and in just a few weeks they came out with this just to mess everything up.
Okay, I got a question. I remember when they lowered the bike price, and everybody was like, "What in the world? I just bought a bike a month ago, and now you guys gonna lower the price?" So is this a similar thing?
I have no idea. It's just that they decided to do this $150 off all of a sudden, and because the guide wasn't even 2 weeks out, everybody wanted to change.
Was it truly
here's the thing though, is that not everyone was able to change. So what they told a lot of people when they called, so if you were not persistent, was that the special was only for people who bought the package that included the heart rate monitor and the mat. And then there were people who were like Marcos and my husband, who were like, well, I'm going to return it and rebuy it. Exactly. And then they were like, oh, okay, here you go. We'll give it to you anyway. And we'll ship you out the heart rate monitor and the mat.
Wait a minute.
You kind of had to be persistent.
So wait a minute. Let me make sure I understand this, Danielle. So are you saying that some people that just bought the guide for the $295, And then the Mother's Day special came out, which was $150 off, making it like $140. And they were like, no, you can't do that unless you paid the 5-something package. Is that what they were saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. What happened with the promotion? Peloton had the guide listed wrong. So they had the Mother's Day promotion where if you bought any accessories, you got $150 off of the accessories. But what they did, they had the guide listed for $295, and they had the guide with the heart rate monitor and the mat listed for $295. So if you bought the bundle that had the mat and the heart rate monitor, that got taken down to $145 once you put it in your cart.
Oh.
And that's the one that people were jumping on because you got the guide for $150 with the heart rate monitor and the mat. And so when people tried to call who had already purchased, Peloton was saying, oh, it's a mistake. It's not supposed to be listed at that price. That's a mistake. And they wouldn't honor the price. Some people were able to get honored. Some people did, like Danielle said, and said, well, forget it. I'm going to return it and repurchase. And some people, they were like, well, we'll just mail you the mat and the heart rate monitor. So I was one of them who jumped on it, and I purchased the guide. I had really no interest in the guide. I have tonal, but I saw the price, jumped on it, said, for $145, I might like this. And if I didn't like it, I can always return it.
Yeah, when I chatted with them, John, they said it was a glitch, exactly what Ashley's saying. But they still honored it, so they made me buy the mat and the heart rate monitor while I was on chat with the girl, and she refunded me immediately and then shipped my order out. So you still get it for free, but you have to do this workaround to get it since you had already bought it.
That's interesting because I didn't have to do anything. I just called and I was like, I heard people are getting a mat and a heart rate monitor sent out. And she said, oh, yeah, just confirm your shipping address. And it arrived today.
You waited because you just called. So, I told you to call and, do it. So you were, in the last wave. At this point, they're probably tired of people calling.
Wait a minute, Tammy, but
me and Marcos were, at the very beginning of it. Because Marcos messaged me and was like, hey, this is what I did. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's the same thing Paul did. So, y'all took the exact same steps. Because he was like, listen, I don't want to be the asshole that returns it. But I will if you're not going to, honor this deal. And they were like, oh, wait, hold on. We'll figure it out. And they figured it out. And Marcos was essentially the exact same way. So I think by the time after those first couple of days, they've kind of just been honoring it and sending people stuff. But for those of us in the beginning who jumped right on it, they were kind of like, no, we can't do that. It was a glitch in the system. You didn't order that. You only ordered the guide.
But I just told them I knew a fake cookie, and they said no problem. We don't want it.
But I'm a little confused. So wait a minute. So some people are getting it for the one they're getting. Some people got the guide and the accessories for the $150 because Peloton honored that mistake they made. But Tammy, you had already purchased it for $295 though, right? So it's not like you got the $150. Are you saying you just were able to get the accessories?
Yeah, I had purchased it, within the first few days or definitely the first week. I mean, I don't think I was as early because I remember I waited until Danielle reviewed it. So maybe I bought it a week after it was released. And then I heard about the Mother's Day special, and I wasn't going to call because I already have a heart rate monitor and I have more mats than I know what to do with. But I've been having a problem with my guide, with the movement tracker. So I kind of contacted them, with the intention on discussing that, and basically saying I'm not really happy. It's not picking up all my movements, or sometimes the movement tracker is closing and there's still 90 seconds left of the circuit that really shouldn't be. It kind of defeats the purpose of keeping you moving for the whole time that the circuit is timed for.
Right.
And oh, by the way, I heard that there was a promotion going on, and I could have been eligible for the heart rate monitor and the mat. So they might have just felt bad for me that I was a frustrated customer and they were having me do all these factory resets and sending them the diagnostic data, and it's still not fixed. So I'm still kind of unsure whether I'm going to keep it, but I did get the mat and the heart rate monitor. Maybe it was just a consolation prize.
I'm the person that had to send back my guide in order to get the package deal. So,
and when you say the package deal, Jessica, when you sent it back, is the package deal the $140 or whatever it is minus the $150, or
yeah, I called and said that's exactly the one. I called and said I would like this package, and I want to get the 2 sets of weights, the heart rate monitor, and the mat.
Right, got it.
They tried to talk me into just getting accessories for $150, but the thing is that those accessories, if you buy them separate, are worth like $410. So I'm like, I want to get those for just $100.
I get the dilemma now. Okay.
But they said, I said, you should just send it to me and let me keep my guide that I have. And they were just like, no, you got to send it back. We just got to do them separately. So
what? This is crazy. Okay, I got it now. And now
they also told people who did not purchase the package to begin with that they could not get the sale price. So like when I got mine, Paul didn't buy me the package. He got me the guide only because I had everything else. I didn't really need it.
Yeah.
So originally they were like, no, because you didn't buy the package. You didn't buy the package, so there's nothing we can do for you. And then that's when he basically was like, well, I'll just return the whole thing and repurchase it.
Right.
And get the deal. And then they were like, oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
And then they put on hold and they came back and they're like, okay, we'll send it out to you.
Wow.
And they sent out the heart rate monitor and the mat.
Yeah.
It really depends on who you got on customer service.
They just don't know. It's one thing or the other, or, one thing says one person says one thing and then another person says another. And it makes it so confusing.
Yeah, it was confusing because I had friends that they would not give it to. They were like, absolutely not. You didn't buy the package. You can't have it. Like, and then someone called back and they're like, okay, now we're going to give it. It was like a mess because customer service was like not up to like knowing what was going on. Some of them were like, oh, I was out and I had no idea the sale was even happening. It was a mess.
It was.
Depending on who you got from customer service, really depended on what your exchange or return process was like.
I can kind of go, okay, well, actually, let me bring Megan in. What's going on, Megan?
Oh, I think Jamie was waiting to say something. Jamie, you want to go ahead first and I'll go after you?
No, I was just going to say that one of the people that actually works in the showroom in Atlanta had to return her guide to get the package. But for me, it took them they did get it together after a second because I bought my guide, within the first couple of days. And when I called, they put me on a brief hold and they said, we see that you qualify for this. And I bought the heart rate monitor at the same time, but just those two things. They refunded me for the monitor and they mailed me a mat for free with like zero question. But I didn't call that very first day like Danielle did. I think they got it together after, maybe 36, 48 hours. But yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's wild. Cool. Go ahead, Megan. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I was one of the people who purchased like the week of, and it arrived a couple days before the Mother's Day offer came out. And I called immediately when I saw that glitch. I think in BGM, somebody posted, run to Peloton. You can get the guide, the whole package for $145. And I was like, wait, what? So I immediately called. I like pulled over. I was driving home from work. I was in traffic. I literally pulled over and called immediately. And I was told, well, you didn't purchase the package, so you can't honor that price. And also all of those orders that came through on that glitch are going to be canceled. That's what I was told. And I thought, oh, that's really weird, but whatever. And I argued because some people in the thread were saying that they got $150 off of the price of the guide. No package, no accessories.
Right.
They just got $150 off. And so that's what I wanted. I was like, discount this guide and that's it. I don't need any other accessories.
Right.
She wouldn't do that for me. She sent me accessories and I got to pick what I wanted because I already had a mat. I didn't have the heart rate monitor, so I went ahead and got that. And I ended up getting the resistance band because that's the only other thing I didn't have. But yeah, I could not get the $150 off. And I didn't even bother to threaten to send it back because I'm entirely too lazy to do all of that, to package it and then get to the post office.
Right.
But I also wanted to say, and I know that we probably don't have time tonight for the agenda, but I would love to talk about the sort of
movement tracker issues that Tammy mentioned.
You know, I'm kind of shocked a little bit. I mean, I almost can kind of understand, you know, sometimes that happens, I guess, where, you know, the wrong price on a product, I guess, on the site. But the idea that even if it had been the right price, it seems like, yeah, you're going to get a flood of people that come back and say, oh, if I'm going to get all that, that'd be cheaper if I bought it individually. Then I don't want the guide individual no more. I want the package. And how are you planning to respond to that? It seems like they weren't prepared to respond to that, regardless that the price was wrong for the package initially. It sounds like they weren't prepared to respond to that. Wow, that sounds wild.
Yeah. The thing I don't understand, John, is like, how does a company like Peloton do that, right? Like, they release this thing. They know they're going to do this on Mother's Day, right? Like, right. This wasn't a last-minute decision, I would think. And you know all these people are going to call in, even if they would have done it the right way, where it was like you get the guide and the 2 accessories for $295, right? Not even the $150. You're still going to have everybody calling saying, oh, I want the accessories for free.
Right.
It's like, why do that? Like, how do you not prepare for that?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's wild.
But do we really think that was a glitch and not intentional?
Well, the glitch was the $150, getting the guide and the 2 accessories for $150. What wasn't a glitch is getting the package that brings the monitor and the mat for the $295. So essentially, you were getting the mat and the monitor for the price of just the guide. That was what the real promo was supposed to be. And I got the same thing as you, Megan. Like, they wouldn't refund the $150, but I'm like, okay, fine. I'll get free accessories, right, for the $295 that I already paid. That was the real promo, but everybody was within 30 days, so how did they not know everybody's going to call in?
That's my question.
If you needed it or not, like, it's a free monitor and a free mat. Like, go get it, you know? Like, who cares? It's free, you know?
Yeah.
But how many people missed seeing the promo? Because, like, I sent it to Paul because he purchased it, so I couldn't even call about it because he's the person who purchased it. So I sent it to him and was like, yo, this is what's happening with the sale. You need to call Peloton.
That is wild. That whole thing. But
how many people didn't call?
Right.
So how many people were like, screw it, whatever, and left it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's probably quite a few who don't want to be bothered, who don't want to call and sit online, and who don't want to deal with it, or who maybe didn't even see it. Because I don't know if he would have looked at an email from Peloton with the sale information in it.
Right.
Like, if I had not sent it to him, would he have known? I don't know. I don't know that he would have. Like, he's busy. I'm the one who's, like, zoned in on Peloton, not him.
Right.
I had no intention of bringing it up, and I actually didn't even call. I did the online chat, and like I said, the premise for me doing it was to complain about my movement tracker, and then I kind of just mentioned the accessories as an afterthought.
So tell me about the issue.
And I feel like I was harassing you in the chat, Tammy.
I know, and I was like, do I need another one? Yeah, you know, because I guess I was still on the fence about whether or not I'm keeping it to begin with, so that was why I wasn't really going to push for the accessories. Because I still can't get mine to work right, so
I really want to dive into that topic, but I don't think we can because I really want to get this Peloton radio thing in. But oh my gosh, I want to ask you more questions about about the movement tracker. I know you do too, Megan.
Real quick before we move away from that, I just want to say the heart rate monitor is incredible.
I heard that.
I'm so in love with it. It works seamlessly from device to device to device. It goes from the guide to the bike to the tread. I've done all 3 in like one workout session, and it just moves perfectly. I'm in love with it. It's incredible.
I agree, Danielle. I'm very impressed with the heart rate monitor. I am a lot less impressed with the guide, though.
Oh, see, I'm loving the guide. So, I mean, we'll have to save it for another day, but I'm loving it.
You were going to say something,
Glad to
Adia?
hear that. I'm just about to open mine.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to add real quick that I did end up returning mine because while they did honor the free accessories for the heart rate monitor and the mat, I needed new weights. And I was like, no, I want the deal for the strength starter. So I should be able to get all those accessories for $100 based on what I already paid because I already bought the guide, and they didn't honor it. So I returned it and then just bought the strength starter pack.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like dealing with them because they wouldn't honor it. But I agree. This was very poor timing.
Makes me wonder if
Oh, yeah.
It makes me wonder if this leaves a bad taste in anyone's mouth, you know, the folks that just didn't want to deal with it, but how it went down.
Personally, I think they should have just done it the easiest way. I guess it's because of the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
The guide, you know, I don't know, but the guide is in the box, in its own little box. I don't understand. I mean, I actually got the weights. I got everything in its own package.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they couldn't have just made it easy for everybody and just say, yes, which one do you want? Okay, we'll get you that one, blah, blah, blah. And then it would have been fast, quick, and easy. No one's getting any, you know, frustrated, and you're not getting the wrong thing. It's just they either should have done the Mother's Day thing when the guide came out, or I don't know what. But
that's what I think too.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I love the guide. I'm totally enjoying it, even though there are glitches on it. I don't care because I think everything's going to get worked out. I'm just working my ass off, and I'm doing Maddie's 5-day split training.
Mm-hmm.
He's intermediate, and then I'm going straight into Adrian's 5-day. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing this.
And someone in the chat said the same thing. Laura said the guide does make her work harder. And so, yeah, I mean, it sounds like there are, you know, a lot of folks where it, you know, has worked well for them. But I'm going to throw this back on the agenda for next week because I really want to hear, Tammy and Megan, what your thoughts were with regards to the movement tracker. And I also want to get to talking more about the split training, but we just don't have enough time tonight. But we'll do that next week. But I did want to get in, like, Peloton Radio, and I'm not as familiar with that. I know that they talked about it was for outdoor content, and it sounds to me kind of similar to what you can do on Tonal, right? Where you can have like stations. Has it dropped yet? And has anyone tried it? I guess my questions.
All right. So I think it officially dropped today because Peloton made a post about it.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it didn't drop. Pello Buddy posted about it probably like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So right after Pello Buddy posted about it, I went on my treadmill and I had it as an option. So I assumed it had dropped then.
Okay.
But apparently it's just now live today. I don't like it. I think it sucks. You can't skip songs. I picked the Hip Hop Gold. I don't know what the hell they were playing. It was not a hip hop song I ever heard. I was like, I don't know what the hell this shit is. It works on the scenic runs and rides. So you know how you would do a scenic one before, and they used to have that really, really crappy music.
Yeah.
And they upgraded it to like quote unquote better music, which still wasn't really better music.
Yeah.
So now they've upgraded it to Peloton Radio. So you can either listen to the default music that was there, or you can listen to Peloton Radio, which they have several different stations. They have pop, they have like Latin dance, they have hip hop gold. I think they have a rock one. They have like several, and you can actually change stations during the course of the class, which is cool. But you can't skip songs, and you can't go back to songs.
But during the course of the class, you can say, I don't want to be on this station anymore. I want to be on this station.
Yeah, you can. You can switch stations mid-class.
Oh, okay.
So it is cool that you can change stations.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a fan of the music that was picked.
Yeah.
So, and I only did like a 5-minute run as like a warm-up, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
You know what would be awesome, though, is rather than stations, if they just let you like play your own Spotify playlist.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I was so stoked for that because that's really, when Pello Buddy first posted about it, that was how I interpreted it to be, was that you were going to be able to connect your own Apple playlist or your own Spotify playlist, and you're going to be able to play it like that. And then when I went on my tread, it was like, oh, there's Peloton Radio. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll try it. And then it was, you know, not really, it was like a radio station. You know, it was like the songs that they play, but you can't really do anything with them. You can't skip them. You can't change them, whatever. You can change the station, but you can't change the song. Whereas I had it in my head that it was going to be able to be me playing my music, and it's not.
Well, I guess it's better than what they had there before, that you can now select your style, your desired style of music, and then you have multiple options rather than just that standard canned stuff. But I agree with you. Like, I wouldn't want any of that. I would want to just do what I do when I do my weight training in the garage. I just go pick one of my own Spotify playlists, and that's what I play in the garage. Like, it seems like that would be ideal. Yeah.
Exactly. And like that, like I run better to my own music. So anytime I do a scenic run, I never listen to the music that they're playing. I either turn my stereo on to my own music, or I pop my headphones in and run to my own music.
Right.
But I never listened to their music. And like I said, just because it was new, I was like, oh, well, let me try it.
Yeah.
And I tried it a couple of times. And like I said, it really wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great for someone, but it's not great for me. It would just be so much better. Just let me play my own music and play my own playlist, and it would be great. But not yet.
I thought it was going to be us able to play the songs we liked from all of the other classes on the platform.
That would be
so
nice.
Much like my own personal Spotify playlist or anything like that, but just anytime I'm in a class and I like a song, it creates this one big jumble of a playlist. And I thought, oh, radio is going to be my list of things that I've liked from all the classes that I've ever taken.
That's
that would have been dope too.
I think so.
That would have been really dope. I didn't even think about that. That would have been a great option too.
Yeah, I think that would have went over really well. That's a good. I hadn't thought of that either. Anyone else try it and have a different perspective on it? No. Well, I'm gonna check it out now, but I that's what I thought it was based on what I read. That it was just kind of a similar thing to what I think you get on Tonal and some other platforms. That you're just kind of selecting a station and it's going to play whatever that station plays, which I wasn't all that interested in, but I know it's gives a little more broad way of doing these things. The person can now select, have some selectability of what they're going to be playing. But yeah, it didn't seem like that big a deal to me either. And it sounds like you thought, I thought the same. Well, hopefully they kind of get to that playlist from Spotify or from Apple Music scenario at some point, because I think that would be a game changer. That'd be a whole nother thing.
They also need to do the just run with your own music outside.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be able to just run and capture my miles outside with my own music instead of listening to a class, because sometimes I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want somebody chirping in my ear. Sometimes I just want to zone out to my music, to my beats.
See, you talking blasphemy like me now. See, you talking blasphemy like I do. Because I do that sometimes. Sometimes I just turn it all the way down. I'm watching Law and Order on the TV.
Yo, listen, I did that new 5K run program, and honest to God, Susie was talking. I couldn't tell you what the hell she said.
I don't know.
That playlist was so horrible. I turned it all. If I could have put in the negative numbers to turn it down.
I came out of one run.
In negative numbers.
I came out of one run. Erica said, "How was it?" I said, "I don't know, but Olivia found that criminal. That's all I know. I don't know what was going on the class though." But see, same thing. I do that sometimes too. I think. I don't know if I guess I'm not an oddity. Sounds like you do that sometimes too. And I think I've heard other people do that sometimes as well. Anyway, I think that's all the time we have for tonight. That was fun. It's always fun talking to you guys. I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more topics I didn't get to this week.
I told you we were getting through those topics. I literally said on Instagram, I was like, now I look like a grandma just scrolling through this list. Mm-hmm. I knew there was no way we were making it.
I know. I mean, the other weeks I was getting through them all. You would have been proud of me the other week, Tammy, when you weren't here. I got through everything.
Tammy, he's lying. Don't believe it.
I was what are you trying to say? That it's my fault? I don't know.
No.
You get through all the topics? Or you just got through all of them?
Stuff up right now.
Ran 3 hours.
I'm just making stuff up, Danielle. You're probably right. I probably didn't get through all of them. I don't know. But yeah, tonight, there's a lot. There's a good handful of them I didn't get to. Dang.
Well, we had a 2 weeks worth of stuff to cover.
That's true. There it is. That's right.
We might need a bonus.
Yeah,
we might need like a midweek check-in or something because there's so much stuff we didn't talk about.
Yeah, we might have to catch up right after earnings call.
Can it be a midweek check-in devoted to the guide?
We could do that because I think we might have to do that one.
But we missed the guide. People are saying we missed the apparel sale that's happening.
Yep.
Oh, we missed the roll call strength classes.
All right, we're gonna do a midweek.
Much stuff we missed.
We're gonna do a midweek check-in so that we can finish out this list. That's what we're gonna do. I'll schedule it.
And we still won't finish it, but it's okay.
I think we'll get through it. We're gonna fight our way through it. But yeah, I definitely want to get to that guide discussion.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining. I always have fun talking to you guys on the weekend. I look forward to it. So if I don't see you on the leaderboard, I'll talk to you guys in our midweek check-in. All right?
Wait, John, gotta wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
All the moms, all the aunts, all the grandmas, stepmoms, dog moms, godmothers, everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hope you guys have an amazing remainder of the weekend. All right?
Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
See y'all.